You didn't make a click to tweet, you slut.
I do have a click to tweet. Welcome everybody to the tip.
Did I time that just in time for the unmute? God damn it.
Well done. Bravo.
I'm sorry.
That was the best. Oh, why am I not? There we go. Hotkey work correctly. That'll look slightly fucked up on the capture, but it will. I forgot I set up hotkeys. Hello, everybody. The Tip, episode 4. If you don't know what we are the Monday Night Podcast with myself, Mr. Gray over there, and Mr. SpikeSethen down there. This is where we talk about tweeting things in my ear hole the whole frickin' time. Video game news, tech news. I need to turn off those alerts. Hi, how you doing? Oh, okay. I'm better now. Yeah, general gaming news, tech news, what's been going on this past week, things we may or may not be looking forward to. Excuse me while I hiccup.
It's okay, I called you a slut before you said anything.
Well, in all fairness, it's probably deserved.
I mean, you're not wrong. We devolved right at the start.
Yeah. So it's
Slut-shaming Nate right from the get-go.
Yeah, so this is a general podcast where we talk about gaming news, tech stuff. We don't initially address chat throughout the whole thing. Feel free to talk. That's more than okay. If there's things that we need to address, we will address them. Otherwise, we do Q&As at the end of the cast, where we ask you guys for questions and whatnot. If there's anything, like you can see on the screen right there, right now, if there's anything you want to send us throughout the week, gaming news otherwise that you'd like us to talk about, if you use the hashtag Tipcast on Twitter, that news will go right to us. We're watching it all the time. Or at the very least, I am. I'm sure Spike is too.
Yep.
Gray is Canadian.
Canada
doesn't have Twitter yet.
Canada doesn't
completely
have Twitter.
detached from the rest of society.
Canada will get Twitter in the next 4 to 5 years, but until then,
Eventually.
Fantastic.
we're a little bit behind.
Fuck, what was I gonna do? That's what I was gonna do.
We're stuck in maple syrup. Holy shit.
Slows us down.
The streets in Canada are just maple syrup like rivers. So it takes forever for information to get from point A to point B. Because like here we have cars. We have cars that travel across highways.
Oh man.
But in Canada there's rivers.
toboggans.
You travel by boats.
No, toboggans.
Toboggans, that's right, Canada, sorry. There's smarter words for that type of thing. French people, you know.
All right, let's get the fuck back on the rails.
I'm just fucking going with it, man.
Oh man.
Episode 4.
So if you don't move, shit. No, I can't stop laughing. All right.
Sorry.
So if you don't know me, I'm TheGamePit, otherwise known as Nate, Pitts, TGP, a million other different names. A variety caster on Twitch, the house of this podcast here. As far as what I've been doing this week, not much really. I kind of had a bad week. Didn't do a whole lot of casting. Just started up Red Dead Redemption today and forgot how much I fucking love that game. I've done so many stupid things already that I'm immediately in love with it again after putting it down for 3 years. So that's all that's going to be happening on the channel upcoming. And that's all I've been doing as far as gaming. I've had a very uneventful week. Besides me and Spike finishing Dead Wednesday, or Dead Island on Dead Wednesday.
Dead Wednesday's not over, brah.
Yeah, finishing Dead Island 1 in a one-hit kill on the final boss.
Fucking.
That was the best.
There's a highlight on both of our channels and
Plus on my YouTube.
Nate's YouTube. I haven't had the time to fucking upload it. I have like 14 videos I still have to do descriptions and tags for on YouTube. I don't have enough time in the day. Actually, I can talk about that. That's what I was doing. So So aside from my normal casting daily, a bunch of random different things, I woke up late on Sunday, so I just decided to not do Skyrim and just do what the fuck ever. But other than that, YouTube. That was YouTube, and then my normal life routines. Nothing really fancy has happened on my part. I finished Bright Lord.
The fuck is Bright Lord?
The DLC for Shadow of Mordor.
Right.
It was pretty good. There wasn't really much to it. The boss at the end of the Bright Lord's better than the boss at the end of the vanilla game.
You think?
So, oh fuck yes. Hands down better. You actually fight him instead of just 100% QTEs.
Yeah, true.
It's so much better.
Oh man.
Plus Sauron fucking flips the table on you last minute, and all 5 of the fucking war chiefs that you had just branded are no longer branded and attacking you at the same time. Level 20, 24 plus fucking war chiefs. And that was fun, though. I had a lot of fun with that.
Plus that part where you carry Frodo to Mount Doom.
Toads.
So good.
Toads.
Just
Even though Frodo wasn't even born then.
spoilers
When you-
and then fake
when you-
spoilers. And then
When you ally with Gandalf,
Gandalf!
and then start your own buddy cop private detective agency
You shall not pass
called Gandalf and Company.
unless you have the proper paperwork.
Gandalf's
man.
a Pinkerton. Union busting.
Yeah, that was my week. I finished off the Bright Lord and normal stuff from there.
Oh man, fantastic, Mr. Gracer.
Yeah, not much. Just my computer's constantly trying to melt on me.
What happened now?
No, I don't know. It's just not cooling properly. It's weird because the liquid is always at 32 degrees Celsius. It never gets higher than that, even when my computer's running hotter.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. There's something.
I don't know either. Do you have a way to actually check the temperature of the fluids inside of a closed loop cooler?
Yeah, it's the chill control app for Antec. Yeah.
Interesting.
Right now it says it's running at 32 degrees Celsius, the liquid temperature.
But not the actual chip.
No, the chip is right now running at 40 degrees.
Oh, that's not bad, but you're not
No.
casting, so...
Exactly. I don't have like games and stuff running. I just have a few programs open. So my CPU is running pretty low.
All right, sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's fine. Other than that, I got sick again. So now I'm sucking on lozenges because, of course, I have to.
Repeat what you just said?
I'm sucking on lozenges.
Lozenges.
A throat lozenge?
Oh, well, I'm sorry. Look, I'm American. The word that came to my head with that was some kind of strange forest creature's jizz.
Just gotta throw that jizz in there.
I heard lozenges. That's what I heard. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry.
How is that the first thing that came to mind?
Because it's me! It's me!
I say I have a sore throat. I got sick. I say lozenge, and the first thing you think is of magical forest creatures come.
Yes. That's yes.
Of course.
Oh my
Ancient
goodness.
Chinese medicine, right?
What the fuck is wrong with today?
Jesus Christ. Who says the lozenge? It's in the fucking aisle. If you look in the aisles for like halls or something, the aisle will say like cold medicine, lozenges. Like,
I've never heard the word lozenges.
oh my god, have you never been to a pharmacy before?
Are you
In fairness, in the USA, they do fairly generalize them as cough drops. It's
Ugh.
usually only on the packages that they say lozenges.
Whatever.
seen it on the
Holy
pack?
shit.
Oh my god. Okay.
Look, listen. I hate to break this to you. I hate to break this to you, but you're from a country that knows things.
Where people use real words.
We're
They
America.
don't eat
We're called
lozenges.
thought, which is THOT. T-H-O-T.
THOT.
So
Drive through is THRU, so. Holy fucking balls in my face.
Well, other than that,
So that was the tip, everybody.
yeah. Good night, guys.
Holy
It's been
shit.
fun.
all right, to do great. I'm really sorry I
No,
derailed
that's okay.
once, twice.
We all need to eat some lozenges once in a while.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
okay.
other than that, playing Fallout New Vegas again. Man, it's good to go back to the wasteland. It's weird after like years of not being like exploring there. It's just really fun to go back and do things you had like, pretty much memorized.
Oh, holy shit.
Yeah, it's for games like that, it's always good to detach yourself for like 2 years, forget everything, and then it's just like a brand new experience.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I haven't played in so long, because it's just like I was like, you know what, I won't enjoy it that much currently, and then yeah, it's been in long enough. Now it's fucking amazing to go back.
If you're not from the United States, you're basically not from a third world country, so you're fine.
Essentially. You know, I did feel that way with starting Red Dead Redemption back up, because once I did my first save, I looked at where the old save was, and it was almost exactly 3 years ago. It was only off by like 20 days. So I was like, fuck, I literally haven't picked this up in almost exactly 3 years.
I've never played Red Dead, but everyone that I talk to says that it's brilliant.
It's great. I immediately started. I hitched my horse to a hitching post, and then I walked outside, and it was trying to fly in the air.
Yeah, Rockstar!
It was walking up the wall backwards.
It is better than any Grand Theft Auto.
For sure. But it's not without its glitches, and they were fucking hilarious today.
It's an open world game. Open world games are always super buggy.
Yeah.
I mean, all games are buggy at some degree, but open world games especially.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which is why, shameless plug of the greatest game this year, which is why if Witcher 3 nails it, best game this decade.
You remember how we said we weren't going to pre-order, but only because we weren't going to judge a game until it was already out?
The thing is...
And then he's like, no. Witcher 3 is the greatest game ever made, because obviously it is.
Look. I said if it nails it. Okay. Like an open world game on that scale, with that visual fidelity, with the promises the company's making, if that's bug-free, or at least mostly bug-free, best game this decade.
I don't even care as long as it works. It's like it can be full of bugs. Like that's Fallout, right? Fallout is a super buggy mess, but it's ridiculously fun.
Skyrim, anything Bethesda.
Exactly. So I don't even care if it's like that, as long as it's still really good.
It wouldn't be a Bethesda game if there weren't floating rocks
or swimming old ladies in the air.
Yes,
that was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Oh,
all right. So we covered all that stuff. I'm gonna stop shamelessly thinking about sperm and Witcher 3 and
mythical forest creatures. Sperm.
Well, I mean, you can kind of go back to the ladder in the next little section we do here, to where we talk about games that we are hyped for or may have looked at this week, because I do have kind of a decent list going on here.
Yeah, I saw you completely fucking change this entire page with even summarizes of certain things, like bullet points of more.
Yeah, because not everybody has the time to read all the things, so that way we have a summary of what the fucking shit is about.
It's funny because I brought it up with Nate. It's just like there should be something, but I had no idea he was going to go like this, and this is just so good now because like all the good points are there. I was like, well, that's pretty much what we have to do from now on.
And by we totally mean Nate.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Because,
we're too fucking either lazy or just sleeping or working.
It's I could do something, but, I won't.
I won't. I just won't. All right. Things I'm excited about. It's like that guy at the office
that everybody bullies. It's like, hey, you want to get this work done for me? I got to go out right now.
Oh. Yeah, I got this paper due, and if I give you $50 and go fuck yourself, can you do it for me?
Totes, I can do that.
I'm being Twitch's mom.
Alright. So things I'm looking forward to coming up. Nick Hotbox the TARDIS actually turned me on to a game that looks very interesting. I feel like my mic level went fucking wonky there. Called Hunt Horrors of the Gilded Age, which is a Crytek USA's first game that they're making. It's a 4-player co-op where you seem to get into a team and hunt down different monsters. The one they showcased was 4 guys trying to take down a witch. And it's a very period setting. I'm not sure what the exact year is, but they stay very close to the weapons of the time period. I'd say like around the Salem witch trials area or something like that. Maybe a bit later.
So like kind of like Templars or something, hunting down evil dudes or what have you.
Yeah, it kind of seems that way. Right now it's only in pre-alpha, but even the pre-alpha was like really fleshed out. I was kind of impressed.
For some reason, that sounds a lot like if Evolve was in a medieval fantasy setting.
Not so much medieval, though. I mean, it's
I was gonna actually
early America.
That. Well, here's the thing: is the thing that you're hunting down, is that another player, or is that just completely AI?
As far as I'm aware, it's AI.
Okay,
I didn't look into the details of that fully.
Okay. What was it called again? It was
Hunt Horrors of the Gilded Age.
Yeah, I have to check that out now. I really like the idea of that colonial America setting too.
I'm just a big fan of the Cry engine and what Crytek does, because
it's the team's first game. It's the new resolution of Crytek USA that they've put together, but it looks promising.
Yeah, I really like that idea. I mean, that was the thing, is like, that's kind of how I thought The Order was going to be. Like, The Order had this really cool, like, industrial age setting, and then it just turned out to be a piece of garbage game.
Well, speaking of garbage...
So hopefully this one isn't that.
The other thing I had to look at this week was a game called Hellraid, which if you follow Techland at all, it's one of theirs, and it's...
Right, I have heard of that. It's Dying Light, Dead Island, or whatever, but
medieval.
Medieval.
It looks very much like Hexen to me, just because there's like staff powers and shit that you can get.
But it doesn't look very good from what I've seen.
No,
it looks terrible.
Exactly. It's just, I mean, this isn't about bringing up only good games, because just having a look at it, it was Dead Island with a fantasy RPG skin on it, and even more repetitive than Dead Island 1. Like, the breadth of enemies that they have is minor at best.
That's one of the things that always blows my mind, is like, if you can't make your teaser trailers look convincing, then you probably have a really shitty game on your hands.
Well, here's the thing about Techland. Like, say what you want about their buggy, like, generic storyline, absolute fucking shitballs voice acting, and their, anything like that. But, like, in the spectrum of first-person, like, sword and board type of games, there really aren't many that have a decent visceral combat system.
That's true.
And Techland kind of nails that on that spectrum.
Yeah, but it's just like, whereas Dying Light looked really cool when you watch like people playing it, like Hellraid does not look like that.
Yeah.
It just looks bad when you watch people play, or like when you watch the trailers or whatever.
Yeah, it looks a bit like the B team was on it while the A team was working on everything else.
Killing Floor 2.
Hey, you guys, go make some kind of side project. What's your name again? Do you even work here? I've been working here for 8. Yeah, whatever. Go do that.
Go do that thing.
That was like their night guards that they just like
night guards.
Not even actual devs, just like the rent-a-cops they have for the complex.
Like night guards and housekeeping. That's who they got working on this thing.
The other thing, Dead Island 2. I didn't really give a shit until we finished Dead Island 1 and then kind of had a look at the trailer for Dead Island 2. It looks promising.
I have seen some gameplay.
It looks silly. It looks,
Yeah. It's definitely over the top, but like the dual wielding mechanic is what I'm really interested in. Being able to hold a gun and a melee weapon at the same time, just so long as the fucking You're allowed to change the
Gun
FOV.
mechanics. Yeah,
Well-
and the gun mechanics aren't fucking tits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked because when you watched the first trailer for Dead Island 2 and you saw that they weren't trying to like they fully realized what they were now, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna follow this game because it's like they're not, trying to say, oh, we're super serious or whatever. It's like they clearly, it's like Saints Row, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how Saints Row 1 didn't really know what it was. And then they just like, okay, we're a fucking ridiculous game and we're just going to go with it. So then I was following it, and then watching the gameplay, it's like they've really, for Dead Island 2, they've really followed through with that like complete nonsense idea. And I'm totally down to like keep watching.
Yeah.
Because I will probably pick it up if it looks as good, or if it is as good as it looks. And
Yeah,
that's
for
coming
sure.
from someone who never finished the first Dead Island and didn't even bother with the second one.
You should finish the first one with the home run bat. You'll be happy.
Like, I definitely agree with that comparison of Dead Island to Saints Row, because it's following that same routine. Because they kind of, like, the first trailer for Dead Island, for people that don't know, the first trailer for the original Dead Island was really, really
serious.
dark, really gritty, really, like, a lot of people were expecting, like, The Last of Us?
Yeah,
Before
that's
The
what
Last
I
of Us,
was
a lot of the people were expecting the original Dead Island to basically be what The Last of Us is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's-
then it came out and it was nothing like the trailer. And the second one was kind of the similar way, Riptide meaning. And now 2, they're finally like treating it like what it is, which is
I mean,
No.
the trailer for the first one was literally a little girl dying in reverse. Like, it was super tragic. Like, I mean, I felt really sick and sad after that trailer, because it's like, you can't watch a child die and not be super sad, right? Like, I mean, so I was like, okay, this is like gonna be super fucked up, and it's gonna be one of those really good emotional roller coasters, just really smart writing. And then it was so dumb. Like, it was just such a dumb game. And most people were disappointed on that virtue alone.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Because
for
it's
sure.
like, if they had, like, people definitely would have liked that game better if they had just accepted what it was. And just, like, advertised it for what it was, right?
yeah.
I mean, you see the same thing with movies, right? People
Yeah.
hated Jarhead because it was advertised as a fucking action war movie, not a movie about how the boredom of war makes you insane. Like, and they just sit there doing nothing the whole time, right?
So you said we're talking about things that we're all looking forward to. Is this segment?
If you got
Killing
something
Floor.
to throw out there.
Witcher 3.
Killing Floor 2.
Killing Floor 2, Witcher 3. Are we looking for things that I'm not really looking forward to? I think Bloodborne's a little overhyped.
That's,
I think you remember Dark Souls 2?
yeah,
Like
okay.
everyone was like, yeah, Dark Souls 2 is gonna be amazing, and then now everyone's basically like, Dark Souls 1's kind of better.
Yeah, I agree that it's probably overhyped, but I'm still looking forward to it because I think it's going to be a good game. It's just, I'm not one of those people who usually falls into like, this is, the savior of gaming. Like, this is going, you know what I mean? Like, so many
Nintendo
people-
for the savior.
Exactly. So many people do that. They'd be like, this will save our industry. It's the chosen one. Everyone will follow suit. Like, people get so fucking hyped for like, that's what happened with Watch Dogs.
Well, that's
You
with
remember
anything, period.
the
Video
Watch
games,
Dogs
movies.
hype? Oh my god, it was insane. Like
Watch
people
Dogs was so
thought,
overhyped, it was ridiculous.
yeah, people thought that was going to be the open world game that everybody mimics from now on forever.
To be
And-
fair, the E3 trailers were pushing the fucking boundaries of what we had ever seen.
Oh, absolutely.
And then the game came out and it wasn't anything near that.
It
So
looked
it's,
like the E3 trailers were amazing, but even still, that's like the problem with saying, okay, that trailer is amazing, so this game is going to be great. They should.
what is that in chat?
Yeah.
Derailment.
No. All right.
But yeah. I mean, Yeah, essentially it's just like, I think Bloodborne will be really good. I think people just in general need to stop overhyping trailers.
Yep.
That's my opinion on that.
Likewise, developers, keep making games. Publishers, stop hype your game, but come on, stop telling us how many fucking awards it won before it even came out.
Yeah,
exactly.
Oh my god, I cannot stand that. Like, you buy a game and it's like on the box or whatever. When people used to buy games in boxes,
Like Evolve,
remember that?
won 131 awards.
To buy games in boxes.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's all these like accolades that the Not game has received. Best in
It's the
show,
same thing they do with fucking
trailer.
movies. Those things win Oscars before they even come out.
Oh, absolutely. It's
That's
funny.
not one-sided at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Oscars is a joke already. Anyways, the Academy is such a fucking joke. But that's one of those things. It's like No Man's Sky, right? No Man's Sky will probably be a fun game, but people are once again saying, okay, this is going to be the greatest game that has ever been made.
Well, I mean, it's got a lot of very interesting technology behind it, and the way that it handles procedural generation of things, and how easy it's harder for them to make the assets, but it's easier for them to plug it in and allow the generation to just take it and run with it. But I don't know. No Man's Sky is a very up in the air thing, and I feel like the developers are being very cautious about how they approach that.
Yeah,
They're we have a lot of interesting and cool things going on, but don't expect the best game ever.
That's one of those cases where the devs themselves are not hyping the game. It's the community.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, don't get super excited because you don't know a lot about the game yet, except for that it would take longer than your whole lifetime to explore it, just because of the way it's generated. But, I mean, like, they haven't said much about it other than that because that's their tech, right? Like, they're just showing off their tech at this point.
Yeah, that's the only thing they really talk about is the tech and how it works and how they're able to work with it.
Because that's what they have so far. It's the community that's decided that, I mean, this game is everything they've ever wanted.
Killing Floor 2, going berserk. That's all I'm saying. I want that katana.
Yeah.
Nate showed me that gore system.
It's really nice.
Incredibly in-depth. Like,
yeah.
Like, the talent behind it, because the attention to detail it's really talented. Like, they put a lot of work into it, and I even if I didn't like the game, I would respect the amount of work that went into that game.
Yeah, there's no shit, right?
Yeah.
Like, they've definitely been using their time and money appropriately.
There's still kind of a really small team. When you,
absolutely.
Like small companies, small teams, small everything.
They're basically still an indie team. Like,
well, they're not going to be after this.
No.
Because it's going on PlayStation 4. It's multi-platform, big console release. Maybe not like AAA, but it's going to be on a console. And if it gets picked up at all on that console, it's going to blow up.
Yeah, if they have any sort of like, basically, if they're on the front page, they'll make tons of money.
Especially with just how the game looks.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, for anyone that's like into shooters and zombie games, like, there's tons of people that have never heard of what Killing Floor is, and there are millions of people that know what Call of Duty Zombies is.
Mm-hmm.
But
and side by side, you compare Killing Floor 2 to Call of Duty Zombies, everyone's going to be like, what the fuck is this?
I mean, that's why so many people buy Call of Duty at this point.
Yeah.
Like, it's just to play zombies. So, I mean, if they get to play on consoles, like that's the thing, is, like, Killing Floor has all these really satisfying things. Like, the guns feel fucking meaty. Even just, like in the first one, like, reloading the Beretta, you know what I mean? Like, the slide, like, slams forward, and it's got, like, this really meaty feel to it. And then, like the fact that Z time just activates at certain points, but it always seems to activate it at a perfect, like, cinematic time. You know what I mean? It's like, it activates for, like, 2 seconds, so you, like, reload, and then it goes fast as soon as you start shooting again. It just feels like this epic cinema moment, and it's just so good. Like,
well, I mean, that works just because there's so much shit going on constantly anyways.
Oh, yeah, but what I'm saying...
Think about it, though. Like, the Killing Floor 2's limitations is 32 AIs at any given time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that... it doesn't look like that.
No,
There's so
it's
much going
so
on.
much
It's
chaos.
yeah. So I can't wait for what they do with Killing Floor 2 without that kind of limitation in place. I could expect total fucking chaos and mayhem.
Just like,
It'll be
and
nuts.
just that like gritty, like underground grindhouse type aesthetic, right? I mean,
Like malls and underground like train stations and shit.
yeah, and like it, like the fucking everybody's like this like gritty, like low class Englishman, like you know what I mean? Like they just seem like they fucking like they just eat lead for breakfast kind of thing.
Yeah. What are you looking forward to, good sir, Greg?
So obviously, like, you know, we have a disagreement, but I'm looking forward to Bloodborne.
I just think it's overhyped.
Yeah,
but, you know.
I mean, I'm looking forward to it because I really like that style of game. I am not falling for hype. I believe it'll be good, but I won't say it's going to be amazing until I play it.
Right.
But
it's the same team, right? It's the same people that did Dark Souls, or is it different?
So what happened was Demon Souls and Dark Souls were directed by one person, and then he went on to make Bloodborne, and then a different team made Dark Souls 2.
Oh, I can understand why the hype's so there now.
Yeah, because it's like this is the true sequel to the yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I understand.
But it's like his vision for the next game. I really like it. Like, it's going to be a much faster paced game. Like, there's no shields anymore. There's just a long range weapon and a short range weapon, which means it's a lot more about dodging and countering. I love Victorian era aesthetics too.
We're going to be covering that, Ice Ninja.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Victorian era aesthetic. I mean, that's one of the reasons I personally was really hoping the Order would be really good, because I like it, you know, things set in that era. Other than that, yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. I am also, as of this week, looking forward to the Wolfenstein standalone DLC.
Yep.
It'll be really nice to go back to Castle Wolfenstein with the id Tech 5 engine. That would be pretty badass.
Yep.
I mean, I'm
excited for it just because I liked the New Order.
Yeah, I love the New Order. I love the fact that they went in a new direction, and it wasn't like, oh, okay, it's World War II, we're fighting Nazis again, right?
Right.
It's like, oh, the whole parallel history kind of thing. I really like that. But I think it's just cool as a standalone expansion to go to Wolfenstein and, you know, play the more traditional style of Wolfenstein. But yeah, other than that, I mean, those are what I'm really looking forward to.
Sorry, we were on that for a good chunk of time.
Yeah, but so we'll just kind of run through the next part, leading in from where Gray leaves off there. Just some things that are happening in gaming's coming up. Sure, let's go with that.
Yeah.
Wolfenstein: The New Order standalone DLC. It's a 2-chapter prequel called The Old Blood. That comes out on PS4, Xbox One, and PC May 5th at the price of $20 US.
Oh, cool. All right, I wasn't sure of the price tag. $20? Fuck yeah.
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 So I mean, awesome. It's standalone DLC.
Yeah, but you know, sometimes.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course.
Borderlands: The Pre-Sequel Claptastic Voyage DLC is coming out, as well as the Raised Level Cap DLC. This this one irks me a little bit. So the price for both is included in the Season Pass. If you have the Season Pass, you're getting these two DLCs. Otherwise, you can purchase them separately together in a bundle for $10. The problem I have with that is that there's a price point on a DLC to raise your level cap in a game.
Yeah, I'm not big on that. Then again, I think Borderlands 2 had something similar that came along with the DLC.
Yeah, if you had...
It just wasn't a...
Yeah, it's just every time you bought DLC, you got a level cap. I mean, they did the same thing with the Fallout games too, right? Like...
Fallout 3 in New Vegas, they had that.
Exactly. Which I was okay with because it wasn't like you were just paying for levels. It was like especially because like if you had a capped character and you go into a DLC, like you don't get that satisfaction of leveling up. You know what I mean? Like that's why they added levels.
I guess there's a point of that, but
just because they wanted people to, have incentive to go back.
Yeah, that's fair. Additionally, if you get the Borderlands Handsome Collection on Xbox One and PS4, that comes out March 24th. I'm not sure of the price point, but that includes Borderlands 2 prequel, and those 2 DLCs, the Claptastic Voyage and the Level Cap Raise.
So that's the Handsome Jack adventure as a whole, because the pre-sequel and Borderlands 2.
Correct.
And the DLCs. Okay.
Additionally, Elder Scrolls Online Update 6 is now live. It allows you to be a criminal, finally. Murdery, thievery, bribing implements the justice system so you can do all of the terrible things you probably want to do.
All the things...
Which is really nice in an MMO.
Yeah. The update also brings the champion system for endgame characters. If your veteran rank maxed out in Elder Scrolls Online, it allows you to earn champion points to continue to put new passives into your max rank characters. So it doesn't really get you levels, but it allows you to continue to build your skills.
So exactly like the Paragon system in Diablo 3.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
Which is a good system.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works well.
It works for keeping players interested in the game with the ability to progress onward.
Right, because you have a way to continue to change your character and develop the way the fighting style works and all that.
Well, I mean, that was one of the things that Borderlands did so well with the badass system, right?
Yeah.
The badass ranks?
Yeah, because
that was kind of similar, yeah.
I mean, like, there's a point where it's like, okay, leveling up is... you can't really do that anymore, but there should be some sort of way to progress as a character.
Right.
Especially considering things like PvP and that are really strong on Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah.
So having that continued progression so you don't just stagnate, because then you'll reach the point where players are just constantly at like the same level and fights become long and annoying, as opposed to certain players that have the ability to just clear fields.
Well, not only that, but I mean, that also stops people from building very specific builds in the interest of PvP at the higher ranks. I mean, it won't stop it, of course. People will still do that.
Yeah.
But it allows those maxed out early characters able to optimize their characters for PvP.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Rock Band 4 is a thing. Harmonix is somehow not dead yet.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, I was really surprised.
Yeah. It'll be coming out this year on consoles, Xbox One and PS4. From what they say, if you're interested in such a thing, or you have all the previous games, any songs that you bought in 1, 2, and 3 will be transferable to 4.
Which is good.
Because, yeah, I mean, you've spent all that money on DLC anyways. It would be shit if they didn't let you have it in a new game.
I think less people would buy the game if they weren't able to transfer the DLC.
Oh, definitely.
Just by virtue of why
people
would they
put
spend
hundreds
more
of
money?
dollars into songs.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Per household,
It's insane.
This next one's kind of...
You'll be able to... It's not confirmed yet, but you may be able to use your old instruments. They're working on the programming and collaborating with the first parties to make sure... to try and get all of the old gen hardware working with the new gen hardware, but they're not confirming or denying whether that is going to happen. They're just saying, we'll possibly pull it off, but no promises on that one. And then they just straight up said keyboards are not going to be a thing in Rock Band anymore.
Like the only instrument that was actually an instrument.
MGS5 has a release date finally. Phantom Pain is coming out September 1st of this year. Hi, boo. If you haven't looked at it, the companion system in Metal Gear Solid 5 is amazing. I'm so interested in how that's going to work. And then the big news in the line of Valve news this fucking week.
Oh, yeah. Nintendo was the big one on the first episode. This is going to be all Valve.
Pretty much. They fucking blew everybody out of the water this week.
Yeah.
That's Gabe Newell, though, right?
Yeah.
He just, disappears into a cave for a little while, and then,
that just comes out, no!
I have 17 things to show you.
He just Eureka! And, everybody looks, and he's like...
Right.
Yeah.
So if you've been on
forever.
If you've been on Steam at all and looked at the front page, you may have already seen this, but a shit ton of games are coming to SteamOS. Just going straight to SteamOS, including old games, brand new games coming out. Some of the very big notables on the list: Shadow of Mordor is going to SteamOS, Dying Light, Arkham Knight, Payday 2, Saints Row 4, Civilization 5, as well as Civ 5 New World, I believe. Witcher 3 is going to be on SteamOS, as well as Witcher 2, Metro Last Light, Transistor, Metro 2033, Borderlands 2, and pre-sequel. There's a lot of games, and that's just a portion of the list.
That's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
A lot, like, Valve's just pushing fucking everything to SteamOS now.
Valve is, like, working really hard to get games compatible, because they want, like, it was so funny, because this started out as Gabe Newell hating Microsoft.
Yeah, well, don't spoil anything, but there might be some pretty big things in place for Linux coming up.
Yeah. So let's roll into the news finally after 44 minutes of fucking around and talking about toboggans on maple syrup and tree jizz. That's what you missed.
Basically. So this is a Valve topic.
You can go ahead and roll on it.
Yeah, I can do that. So last week we mentioned that Unreal 4 went, free to the public. Anyone can pick it up. Anyone can use it. Anyone can use it for educational, whatever. Source 2 is doing a similar thing.
Similar, yeah, not exactly the same, but
free to content developers.
Right, specifically to content developers. It's kind of unclear the wording that they use. I don't know if that specifically means you are an established studio, or it just means that you're able to produce content. It's very unclear in that area.
But they're not the only ones to do that. Like, Unity 5 is also free as well.
Unity 5 is very strict, though. Very strict.
Is it?
Unity 5,
so
you basically have to be a development team of some sorts, even if you're an indie. If you're using it for personal use, you cannot gain capital on anything you produce with Unity 5. Just no.
I didn't know that. So you know what? Fuck you, Unity. Unreal's better anyway.
Unreal is better anyway.
Yeah.
And so is Source.
Kind of.
I'm not really a fan of the Source engine. The Source was nice when it came out, but it became dated pretty quickly.
Yeah, but what I mean is, like, it was, I don't know. It was a really good engine, and now Source 2, I think, will be obviously the update it needs. But if it's as good as Source 1 was when it came out, then I'm happy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we've not seen it yet. We've not seen the engine in action, so we don't know what we're expecting yet.
Whatever Half-Life 3 confirmed.
Plus a tentative release for Steam machines. Remember the Steam machine alphas that went out a long time ago? Ranging from everywhere from like 750 Ti's to fucking Titans.
Titans. Yeah,
doing things out of turn, fucking up my video.
Wait, what?
Steam machines, let's talk about those.
Well, it's in the same thing. What did I do?
I just had a progression for the videos that were running during this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Steam machines are coming out. That's
in
kind
November.
of exciting.
I mean, there's a release window, not specifically a date for any of them yet that I'm aware, but there's a release window.
Once again, Gabe Newell hates Microsoft, and that's why we're getting Steam machines.
Basically.
Because he was like, fuck you guys, I'll make my own console. And now he's made a computer that its primary goal is to be for gaming, but like...
The SteamOS.
Yes.
Linux based.
The SteamOS is essentially for people who would rather use their computer as a console.
Basically, yeah.
And there's I don't know, like, did they announce any specific variants? They said customizable components.
Well, that's per manufacturer, I believe. It just depends on how they allow you to customize their specific Steam machines. All I know is that they're priced to be competitive with current consoles as far as the base machines go, and then you can obviously upgrade and change components.
Yeah,
with whatever they have available. Steam Link is a slightly interesting thing. The
Steam Link, that's the like the TV service sort of thing, right? No. That's okay. It's like the thing that other companies are starting to do before Valve, where it's a streaming box that takes your computer, streams the content from your computer onto a television.
Yeah, like a Sling box or whatever.
Yeah,
that little box right there. Basically, any Steam connected machine you have on the same home network will be able to stream game content to it, is what I'm understanding, at 1080p, 60 hertz. They say low latency. Those are coming out in November as well, at a price point of $50. The thing that's kind of nuts to me is that the Steam controllers, they put a price point on the Steam controllers, and those are $50 by themselves. So if you want the Steam Link and the controller, that's still $100. That's the Steam
controller, meaning the gaming controller, or like a little button controller? Because if we're meaning the gaming controller, that's like the average price for most controllers nowadays.
Yeah, I'm just
$40-$50.
Still not even completely sold on the controller.
It's interesting.
It's pretty weird. Like, the whole idea was to develop something that could be used in place of mouse and keyboard, but I'm not really convinced that it'll be able to do that.
Yeah. I don't know. It's such an oddball design that it's hard to say if it'll actually function well or not.
Well, that's the thing, is nobody's ever really tried to use it, right?
Well, they've had a different prototype every time they've shown it somewhere.
Yeah, and they sent prototypes along with the Steam machines that they shipped out during that program. Which some of those people that have those, you lucky fuckers. Because some of the hardware in those things was ridiculous.
Yeah, for sure.
I signed up.
Oh, I'm sure a lot of people did, but there was only only 200 actual units that went out, or 100, something like that.
A lot of people have signed up for the Mars mission too, you know.
That's not gaming, but I have heard of that. That's funny.
But the difference is people actually got the Steam machines.
Yeah.
You're given something for free with a $1,000 graphics card in it, and you're not going to sell it for something more usable? I would.
Yeah.
I would sell the graphics card for something more usable.
Well, that's what I mean. Oh, that little pop-up's cool. So the next thing is also Valve.
Yeah. I mean, prepare for Valve. Prepare for entry of Gabe Newell.
Yeah, this one I haven't looked a lot into it. And a lot of what I did look into was kind of like claims from a lot of different people.
That's kind of where it's only at the moment.
Really? That's it? All right. So the consensus of it is we've already known for a little while that Valve was working with someone for VR, something VR oriented. And they kind of like, I think they showed actual like products of it, but they didn't let anyone have any hands-on with it. It's the Vive VR. It's a Valve virtual reality product, which Gabe himself is specifically boasting that this one, unlike any other ones that is out there, is not going to get people sick while using it, which is probably not true because it doesn't really speak for everyone. But that is one of the biggest problems with virtual reality right now is people getting ill from using the product.
Yeah,
like Oculus
even
Rift,
people
most people
who are specifically susceptible to motion sickness get sick with VR.
Yeah, because a lot of your senses rely on optical perception, your visuals. So when you have something directly in front of your face and your only perception is what it is displaying to you, it can be very disorienting. Yeah. So I don't know how Gabe would be able to, or anyone would be able to engineer something like that, at least with the tech we have right now.
There's also a big problem with movement, right? Because it's like you keep wanting to move your body, to move, but you can't. So it's like it really screws with your senses.
Yeah, if you've ever been to an Oculus Rift presentation at a convention, a lot of the times when they let people have hands-on with it, they have them sitting.
Yeah.
And they specifically say you're not going to stand up. You're going to stay seated right there, because if you stand up, you are going to fall.
Basically. But that's the interesting thing about the way the Vive works, is that you don't have to be sitting. There's a tandem technology that works with it called Lighthouse. And what Lighthouse does is it does a lot of kind of what the base technology of the Kinect does, to where it makes a map of your room with infrared sensors. So it kind of knows the position of everything, and you can program it to the specific size of the room or the specific area that you're working in. And that tracking between the Lighthouse and the Vive is what Gabe claims is creating the technology to where people aren't getting sick, to where there's just this kind of 1-to-1 ratio, and all of it is working completely in tandem.
Yeah, but like
That might work.
The Lighthouse technology is apparently so good that other companies are looking at it. Sony's already looking at Lighthouse to incorporate with their VR solution as well.
Yeah, I heard about that.
It's just like,
Well, I heard that Sony was looking into things that were similar to Valve's product. I know that, but
say, the ghost comes screaming through the wall at you, like, dead on, and then, you automatically recoil, because that's what you do when something is a threat to you, right?
Yep.
Like, that's what's going to make you fall and, like, lose your, like, make you disoriented.
yeah, I've said it before multiple times that VR is interesting, but the closest we've really gotten is the Oculus right now, and even that's very alpha.
Yeah.
Like, we're not looking at anything near to what is, consumer level, let alone fully functional.
Well, I'm not going to be happy until we have Sword Art Online Nerve gear, to where I just plug something on top of my head, it takes over my brain, I just lay down.
That's the thing, right?
Just fall over dead and trip on a rock.
That's the thing, is like, I'm not sold on virtual reality until we have better ways of moving in games.
Yeah.
Like, that's it, really. Because you can't convince me I'm actually there until I feel like I'm actually walking, right? Like,
yeah. That is fair. This next one is interesting.
Very interesting. Am I the only one that knows about this one?
I know the basics of it, having read through it for the bullet points, but you're probably the most knowledgeable on it.
Okay, so I'll cover this one, but oh crap, the next one's something I might have a lot of input on. Okay, so this is another Valve thing. Like I said, this is going to be very Valve. Essentially, they developed a different kind of, like, all right, let's explain what DirectX is real quick. DirectX is an API that is utilized to display, or for the graphics card to communicate with the CPU to display information back at you on the screen. It's a very, very short way of explaining it. DirectX is Windows exclusive, so it doesn't really work on Linux very well.
Right.
Valve made a thing called Vulkan, which is a GPU driver that works similar to the function of what DirectX 12 is going to be, where it takes the entire sub-environment of the graphics cards and then pushes it out as one output. And it's also open source, and it supports things such as Mantle, which means not only is this something that Valve can utilize to better communicate with companies like AMD and NVIDIA at the same time, which both of them are barking at Valve for, X kind of information. This will allow both of those manufacturers to have the exact same performance, theoretically, in the environment of Linux, and make Linux much more approachable for gaming. because until now we really haven't had anything that even compares to the ability to game like what you can on Windows.
Well, that's been the reason, I mean, like most gamers haven't switched operating systems, right? Is because
you don't have the library, which again, on top of the Vulkan API, which Valve developed and and works across the board on Steam machines.
Well, hold up. Did Valve make the Vulkan API? Because I thought that was just a thing that was being developed for Linux, and Valve made a Vulkan GPU driver that works with the API. Or are they actually developing Vulkan? Because that's kind of what I got from the article.
Maybe I misunderstood it one quick. All Vulkan Linux is the game developers has the source and to develop machine source.
Maybe slightly unclear.
Okay, yeah, it is a Linux. It's an Intel Linux driver. It's not the actual API.
Right.
Okay. Yes, you are correct. But the point is that this is developed for Linux, so it works with the Steam machines, which are all Linux based, and they'll also work for theoretically any other Linux operating system that you have. And Valve is currently pumping out a shit ton of games on a Steam OS, and if those games can work even like comparably on the level that they do for Windows, little by little, Valve is going to chip away at what the Windows market has with this API, especially since this API and this driver are theoretically going to be done before DirectX 12, because we still don't have any clue when 12 is going to be a thing. All we know is that it's shipping with Windows 10.
Yeah.
And if that happens,
whenever they feel like it.
Basically.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely opens up the Linux gaming world and just Unix-based systems entirely, as far as I'm aware, because this would be easily transferable to Macintosh systems as well, from what I understand.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it really opens up everything to be applicable as a gaming machine instead of being tied to just Windows.
API is an acronym, right?
Yeah.
Stands for application programming interface.
Did you say actual penis inside?
I did.
There is an actual penis inside.
Yeah, there is. Holy shit.
But yeah, it's an application programming interface. I've never looked at what the actual acronym is. I just always referred to it as API.
Yeah, because fucking, who cares?
Pretty much how it works.
But yeah, so that's interesting. Definitely keeping an eye on that. If it works the way they say, then from what they say is that it's going to be just as powerful and applicable as DX12 in a Linux environment.
Yeah, like, look at it from this perspective. Right now, in gaming, what we are seeing is a lot of games being CPU heavy and not properly utilizing the graphics card.
Right.
Since this generation of consoles has come out, that's been like the standard. Like Far Cry 4 runs like fucking shit on whatever system you have, and it just doesn't. It uses more CPU than it should. Fucking Dragon Age Inquisition uses 70% of my i7 at the fucking title screen. So if DirectX 12 works as it says, this API works as it says, this driver works as it says, that means Windows, Mac, and Linux are suddenly 100 times more viable for gaming than they ever were. You no longer need super high-end system. You don't even need that now. Like $500 would build you a good machine to game with. But if these things come out, this market becomes 100 times more enterable. Just the entry level is nowhere near where it used to be if these things work as promised.
Right.
I mean, it's already like just slowly chipping away at the console market, right? I mean, it's just another nail in the coffin, right? Like, I mean, because every day PC gaming gets more and more accessible, and every day people are just spending more and more time on their computers, right? Like why would you play a console when computers offer better services if you have like an entry into it, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
We'll see when those come out, because so far all we have are articles to say that they're happening.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone that's ever actually worked with any of them yet. And I mean, we know people that say that DirectX 12 is going to be backwards compatible, but is the Vulkan driver going to be backwards compatible on GPUs as well, or is that going to be from new cards going forward?
Right.
Does it have to be developed in that API to use it? Because Mantle, I know Mantle, some games got support from Mantle like after it came out and the games were already there. Like they weren't developed around Mantle in the first place. They were developed around DirectX and then got Mantle support.
Right.
So, I mean, right now all we know is that we're thinking about it. It's happening, and that's it.
Yeah.
So we'll see when they execute it. Hello, truck.
Yay! It happens to you too. Fucking get that shit all the time. Alright, so moving on from that, NVIDIA put out their new, well, didn't put out, but they showed off their new NVIDIA Shield in-home gaming console thing that they do.
Yep.
It's a $200 console, basically. To a degree. It's an Android-based console.
Yeah.
It stated that it's more powerful than a 360. They use the Mobile Tegra X1 chip for it, which power-wise you're looking at 256 shader cores versus the 960's 1024 shader cores. So you're not looking at desktop-level graphics in a $200 tiny console, which is expected and totally fine. With 3 gigs of onboard RAM, so that definitely trumps a lot of last-gen consoles, and I think makes it one of the most powerful Android systems out there.
The most.
Yeah.
In terms of Android-based consoles, it is the most powerful out of the box. But pretty much every Android system supports streaming to processes.
And I thought the Ouya was the most powerful.
The Ouya? What?
The Ouya should have been so much more.
It should have really been so much more.
Other notable things about it is going to be subscription-based as far as gaming is concerned.
Subscription-based in the extent of like using their Stream 2 service. You can play games on it without using that service that run on the system itself.
That run on the system itself, yes.
Yeah, but the bigger titles, stuff like they're saying like Crysis 3 and stuff like that are going to be they're capable to run on it. You need to subscribe to their Stream 2 service, which goes to essentially it accesses their GTX supercomputer and then it sends the information of that to you, so you can play it from that. It's not actually on the local system.
Yeah, I mean that's. It seems to be that, yeah, there are local Android games that you can get on it. A lot of, as far as like desktop PC games, are going to be subscription-based on their grid servers. And then there was a statement about an additional fee for newer, more expansive games. So, I mean, you're paying a subscription to pay everything. You're paying a subscription to play Witcher 2, but if you want to play Witcher 3, you have to pay more, is kind of how that came across.
That sounds about right. I think I can understand why they would do that, because especially for single player games, I mean, what's the negative to it? Because you said that there's a little bit of latency, obviously, because it's a Stream 2 service, which means multiplayer games are almost completely out of the question to play them functionally.
Yeah.
At least on a level that you want to. It like you could play them, but you'll die to things and not realize why you died. Whereas a single player game, it's not really as much of an issue. So I guess I could see why they would add a tack on price for newer titles that come out, because you're essentially not paying for it.
Yeah.
Like how do I word this?
I would assume that game would then be tied to a specific account, though. So, I mean, it's basically owning it through the cloud.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what I think of it. Of what I think they're trying to say.
No, it's interesting as a cheap console alternative. It's interesting.
Yeah. I think, considering the internals, because like let's look at Nvidia as a company and what they do. They're right now they are the top GPU distributor in the world.
Yeah.
They have the Tegra chips for mobile. Their AMD hasn't released their R300 series yet, so their 900 series are selling like hotcakes across the board. Even their higher end kind of like Quadro series are, they're big, they're successful. So they have a lot of income right now. I think at this point they probably should have sold this at a much bigger net loss than what they are right now, and it probably would have been perceived as a lot more aggressive that way.
Yeah,
just from a business perspective, I think it probably should have been closer to like 125, 150, and it would make it more appealing to the idea.
Yeah, because like honestly, they shouldn't really be looking for their money in the console itself, but in the subscriptions, right?
Yeah, they're definitely losing money on this.
Yeah,
not just I think because of their current status with the profit the net profit that they're pulling in because AMD's just sitting on their fucking ass. I think they could have put the price point out there as something much more aggressive. Even though it's not a product yet, like we don't actually have access to buying it. It's just kind of what they're advertising it to be.
Right.
I think like $125, people would have been like, yeah, this is actually really good shit. Right now we have a lot of people that are like, $200. I could just wait for the PlayStation 4 to be on sale, $300, and then it actually works with everything.
Yeah.
Type of thing,
Get a Steam machine.
That too.
No, I mean, I'm also like not completely sold on streaming services at this moment. Like, I don't know if it'll be better in the future, but latency is latency, right? I mean, there's certain games that it will really fuck you up on.
Yeah.
I mean,
they said even with that low latency that Street Fighter was basically unplayable because of frame drops and advantages and all that.
Mm-hmm. Multiplayer, you're going to see that a lot.
Yeah.
And even any single player game that's Twitch based.
Yeah.
Like where a single action like a misstep. Like, I mean, there's a lot of games like Ninja Gaiden that had almost frame perfect blocks and stuff, right?
Yeah.
That won't be playable.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
I guess that's a point.
Like Dragon Age, you can play because Dragon Age, you stop the game,
system.
right? Like, like there's no urgency in your actions.
Yeah,
but so that's my biggest problem with streaming games as of this moment, because it's not like playing a game online that you have where you're basically just pinging their servers, right? Like, it's like they have to send you the game and then your game has to send the information back. It's like that takes time. And I mean, if you're talking about, your regular, like your day, like it's not that much time. But if you're talking about, the urgency in which actions are prompted within a video game, it's too much time.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest problem for me. I mean, other than that, like, it's a really interesting idea. It's just until everything is fiber optic, they won't get that latency down low enough.
Even with fiber optics,
it still takes time to transmit data.
Yeah, because then you have to factor in things like server congestion. When there's a lot of information going back and forth, that's going to prolong the ping as well.
That's true too. I mean, basically,
now the university scientists who have teleported information across campus from one place to another using diamonds and crystals, that's viable because it's instantaneous.
yeah. So I mean,
That just needs to happen on a worldwide level.
That's not gonna happen.
That's gonna be my when I condone. That's gonna be when I condone
When information just
for video
teleports
games.
around the world.
I'll be like, you know what? I condone this console because they can teleport information, and you're paying 0.000 to the 20th.01%. Or it's just like it's just at this point. I mean, streaming is really good for movies and stuff, but if you have to be constantly inputting, frame perfect information, then it's not worth it. You're just ruining your own experiences. So if all you want to play is XCOM and Civilizations, consider it. But I mean, if you're into more action-oriented games or anything multiplayer, don't bother.
For sure.
People can't play fucking Counter-Strike with like 100 as a ping.
Right. Sucks. Excuse me while I cough. Jesus.
Hold on. Don't wipe my nose where nobody can see it.
I thought you were just gonna fucking straight up walk away. You're like, no, I'm out.
So this next one's is you, Gray.
Yeah. So basically, what happened is Comcast has decided to not let PS4 users use the HBO Go service.
Yay! Fucking Comcast.
Which, yeah, I mean, HBO's standalone app is still confirmed. So, like, because right now what HBO Go is you have to have a cable subscription,
Right.
and then you can access HBO anywhere. But the HBO standalone app will still work once it comes out later this year, in which you don't any longer need a cable subscription. You simply need an HBO subscription. Because
that's actually a thing right now, I think. HBO Now.
No, it's not out yet.
Well, I mean, there will be a standalone application coming out to everything as far as streaming services are concerned. It's just a standalone app. As far as I'm aware, you don't even need an HBO subscription for that. You just subscribe to the HBO service for that app.
Right? That's what I mean, is that will be your HBO subscription, right?
And that doesn't have to check in with ISPs or anything. It just is its thing.
Well, that's what I mean, is because that's going to be when HBO goes fully independent.
Yeah.
Which is later this year. Is it April?
HBO Now. It's a standalone TV service.
What? That's not
HBO Now and standalone service shakes up the TV industry.
That's out now?
It's they're announcing HBO's new. Beginning in April, Apple customers will be able to subscribe to HBO Now app on their iPads, iPhones, iPod Touches, and Apple TVs.
In April, yeah.
So it is April.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I mean, is like, so for right now, they're blocking it, but I think it's strange that they are blocking it, because it's obviously just going to hurt them.
Strange? No.
Well, I mean, Comcast has done this with things before.
Not because I don't think they would do something shitty, but because I feel like it's an unwise business move.
Oh, it's a terrible business move, yeah. They're fucking dumb. They've proved that time to time.
Yeah, they're not even trying to hide it this time. Like, if you remember the Netflix event, they were like, we're having issues with the servers, and now when you actually like call customer service about things involving HBO, they're just like, this is a business problem between us and Sony. So, they're not even trying to hide. That's how they got caught, was people were calling in and they're like, why can't I watch HBO Go on my PlayStation? And they're like, this is a business problem between Comcast and Sony.
Well, yeah, like that's why
it's more.
That's why.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that's why Roku has filed the business complaint with the FCC, is because this is
illegal now.
It has to be illegal.
It is illegal now.
Well,
With
Roku, as far as I'm
with
aware,
the
Roku
utility,
won
right?
even before net neutrality, before the net neutrality bill, because Comcast blocked HBO Go on the PS3 and the Roku, because they don't want competition for their cable subscription plans.
Yeah.
As far as I'm aware, HBO Go is still blocked for Comcast users on PS3. As soon as it hit PS4, they fucking blocked it. Roku had to file a complaint with the FCC to get it unblocked in Roku's, and that was only recently. It was probably helped by net neutrality, but as far as I'm aware, that complaint was filed before net neutrality.
Oh, okay.
It was filed before net neutrality, but
Yeah.
I don't.
But
I know for a fact that now it is in fact illegal, and this type of thing going on is also illegal.
yeah, it's incredibly ballsy by Comcast to. I mean, it's like, okay, this is illegal now, and they're like, all right, well, let's do exactly what was just made illegal.
It's fucking Comcast.
Not only that, but the next one actually involves some sort of lawsuit and legal action in terms of making a law. So, so not only is Comcast, trying to do whatever the fuck they want, but Comcast also has money involving some sort of politicians, specifically Marsha Blackburn, who recently proposed new legislation titled the Internet Freedom Act, which we all know from the extreme right-wingers really means Internet Enslavement Act, because they don't believe in, things to make sense when they say it.
People should have the freedom to encroach on your civil rights.
Exactly. So,
That's what freedom means.
so
Ayn
essentially,
Rand for life.
so essentially what the Internet Freedom Act is doing, or going to do if it goes through to legislation and law, is overturn the FCC's neutrality rules in favor of basically saying no legal action can be made unless the law says the law say it's going to be made. So right
the
now,
Republican white ringers behind all of this, because it's all Republicans behind this.
Yep.
31 specifically that are already supporting it. Essentially, right now, with the FCC's net neutrality rules in state where they are, if anyone infringes upon that, legal action can be made immediately. Like lawsuits and court sort of oriented things, all that stuff can be done immediately. This bill is going to attempt to make that so it can't be done unless approved by the government first.
Which is insane.
Well, the big thing they have against net neutrality is not the initial legislation itself. It's the Title II obligations, which they call the FCC overreaching in power.
But I mean, so the way
But that's the power they were given by the government in the first place.
Exactly. Plus, I mean, this is like one of those things. It's like they say, okay, you can't create a lawsuit or whatever without Congress's go ahead. But Congress isn't the branch of government that decides that, right? Like, that's judicial branch, right? That's their authority to decide that.
Another thing is that Blackburn. All right, so we can name three big companies like right off the bat that were totally against net neutrality since it happened. Right. AT&T, Comcast, Verizon. All three of them were like, no, net neutrality is wrong. We don't want that. You're not allowed to make this blah blah blah. In fact, AT&T sued the FCC immediately after it reinstated net neutrality. All three of those companies have $80,000 going directly to Blackburn, the person that is trying to put this bill forward.
They were invested in her before this was even a thing.
Yeah, I mean, Comcast.
As if that matters, though.
No, it doesn't. I'm saying that's how much behind this lady they already were. Before she was pushing legislation against net neutrality and the Title II obligations.
Oh yeah, these ISPs donate a ridiculous amount of money to a lot of Republicans' campaign funds. like millions of dollars they spend on Republican seats. Like, that's why they already have 31 backers to their bill.
Yeah, a lot of those are also in the same shoes as Blackburn, getting money from them.
That's exactly it, right? I mean, this becomes like whether the FCC can stand its ground, or whether the money will win.
I guess it's the only thing I'm really glad about when I hear about this is that at least Obama's still in office when they tried to make this move.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like, say what you want about Obama making mistakes here, this, that, another thing. I'm sorry. At least he was ballsy enough to say, hey, net neutrality is a thing. Fucking do it.
Listen,
Well, me and Gray had this discussion about Obama already anyways.
Yeah.
It's just that he's at the end of his term. He can't get reelected
Second
president
term.
at this point, so he's going to do whatever the fuck he thinks is right instead of listening to everybody else from now on.
That's
how he's
what
going to finish out his term.
I really like
Good.
I like second term Obama so much more because he can't get reelected. He doesn't give a fuck anymore. He's just going to do what he wants.
Pretty much.
At this point, it's about passing legislation, not staying in office, right?
Yeah. And
There's still a lot of problems, but as far as this is concerned, I'm behind him.
But yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I have lots of disagreements with
By Comcast.
like I
read it.
have lots of problems with certain things Obama does, but in this particular case, like, I'm really glad that he just doesn't care anymore, because it's like, what are you gonna do? Make sure I don't get reelected? Like,
Yeah.
oh well.
What are you going to do? Impeach me? I
Exactly.
still did it.
The funniest part of this whole thing to me.
Now he's just passing whatever he can, right?
Yeah.
Basically.
Just
The funniest part of this whole thing to me was that back in 2010, when the FCC first brought their original net neutrality bill into the public eye, like, okay, if you don't know what the Title II obligations are, those are the obligations within the net neutrality laws that enforce common carriers to offer public or service to the public on reasonable terms. That means everybody should be allowed internet. Now, where the service providers are bitching immediately is that this is going to cost them, this is going to force them to lay people off, and this is going to raise the rates for the consumers, as if they actually give a fuck about that, because they've been just reaming us. Yeah, it's the only reason that's going to happen is because they're going to make it happen, because they want to make a stand against it.
Basically coercion. It's basically saying, if you're going to do this, we're going to do this, and you're going to have to deal with it after we do it.
it's fucking.
The part of this I find hilarious is that everybody is pointing a finger at Verizon for striking down 2010's original net neutrality rules, which people were kind of okay with. Verizon sued the fuck out of the FCC, so they created the new net neutrality rules to be stricter. So Verizon is responsible for the current net neutrality rules that nobody loves.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That's right. I remember the 2010 thing. That's where this whole net neutrality war really kicked off from there. I remember that now. Yep.
So even though Verizon's is like, we're angry, everybody's like, well, fuck you too, Verizon. This is your fault as well.
To be fair, though, after they did that, after Verizon sued, AT&T and Comcast fucking capitalized.
Oh, of course.
I feel like,
especially Comcast with their fucking backwoods mobster style shit towards companies like Netflix.
But I mean, then the interesting thing is that as soon as net neutrality hit, AT&T went around and fucking put a claim against the FCC. What do you think's going to happen? If they strike down net neutrality now, the FCC is just going to come back in another 4 to 5 years with even stricter rules.
Here's the thing.
Fuck it.
Like, they keep saying we're going to lose money. I feel like if they just gave up and stopped spending hundreds of millions on campaign funds, they would get their money back.
They're not losing money with those funds.
No.
Here's why. Companies that fall under the regulation of telecommunications receive not only tax exemptions, they receive tax funds for
That's
being
insane.
what they are. in this, I don't know if it's the same where you are, but due to the Telecommunications Act here, these companies get money from the government to be what they are, specifically to improve infrastructure and apply better or allow for better services towards their consumers. Okay? Fun fact. If these companies were doing their fucking job, fiber optics would be country fucking wide right now.
Oh, yeah.
The bill, the Telecommunications Act, specifically said that by within 10 years' time, the internet in this country would be completely and totally widespread. Every single person would have access to it, and it would have access to very good internet for very little money. Where we are right now, okay internet for a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
We just had a problem with fiber optics up here a little while ago. The BC government made, or not the BC government, the Victoria government made the it's like the city fiber optic. Like they put down all the fiber optic lines. And then TELUS started throttling people's internet to try and force them onto fiber optic. And then they got caught.
Amazing.
Yeah, then they got caught, and then they were fined like a ridiculous sum of money because super illegal. But yeah, I mean that's like the thing is like our government's laying down the fiber optic lines. They're just forcing the ISPs to use them or to offer them as usable. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. Like here they get that tax money, right?
Yeah.
Then they get the money from the consumers, right? Then they get the money from their cable consumers on top of their internet consumers. And then there's the phone money as well, and all of this money comes in, and they haven't upgraded their infrastructure in years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, they're not even upgrading. They're just buying infrastructure that already existed.
Right.
Yeah, because that's
for pennies on the dollar.
Because that's what Google Fiber is, right? Like the American government laid down a bunch of fiber optics, and the ISPs refused to use it. In fact, in like some cases, they bought it up and they dug it out of the ground so that it couldn't be used. And now Google's like, fuck that. Like there's fiber optics in the ground. Why aren't we using that? So now Google is making its own ISP.
Yeah, and companies like Verizon and AT&T are doing everything in their power to buy all the land around them and stop Google from spreading.
Yeah,
which is why Google hasn't really had any success anywhere other than like fucking Kansas, which who the shit in Kansas needs fucking gigabit internet?
It's Kansas.
Hashtag Kansas, Jesus. All right, we've been on this topic way too long. It's an interesting topic to talk about and a necessary one for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the reason why I specifically wanted to talk about this was for the very simple reason of this battle is not over.
Yeah, not over.
This is started. We've started to get headway, but this is not done. So
people need to start writing their representatives.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that's one thing. Like if anybody who's watching right now lives in America, write your representative. It's always like, I know in Canada, it's literally it's 2 steps to find my representative. It's got to be the same in America. It's got to be very easy to find them.
Yeah.
And then
it's not difficult.
You can find all of their office information, all their contact information. Write them. It's just a quick letter. All you have to say is, I support net neutrality rules. That's it. That's all you have to write. And all you have to do is tell your friends, hey, write 1 sentence to your representative. And if they're afraid of not getting your votes, they'll do what you say. like if enough people write them, they'll start to say, okay, well, it looks like I'm losing the populace.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that their votes are more important than campaign funds, right? Like they'll do what they have to stay in office. So more people need to write representatives. You don't have to write long-winded theses on whether something's good or bad. You simply need to say what side you support. It's very easy to do.
Do it.
Please.
No.
Because this isn't over.
It's not over. And the problem is that they're fighting harder than we have been fighting.
Because they have money.
Exactly.
They'll be one with FCC. So, but yeah, we need to keep going.
Yeah. So this is an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Oh, this is really, there's not a lot to talk about this. It's just kind of like the thought-provoking element of it.
And I have kind of something to say about this myself. A couple of researchers, well, a very specific research team at the Human Brain Project built a representation of a mouse brain, which you see there, working in tandem with the 3D model that allowed them to elicit responses to the brain by affecting the model, essentially creating the artificial intelligence of a mouse to some degree.
Very minimal.
Very minimal. We're talking... Why does VLC keep crashing on me? Oh, that was the last video. That doesn't matter. Hi. Oop. Jesus Christ.
What?
The wall. I wasn't expecting that.
Sorry, I'm just gonna link like everything that we didn't link.
Yeah, we were forgetting.
Just so people can kind of see the information. Go.
Yeah, this current simulation, mice have 75 million neurons in their brain. This simulation runs at 200,000 neurons. It's very basic, comparatively. Brains are complex. Mice brains are less complex than ours, and they've barely managed a small percentage of it. It's interesting in that they've managed to create an AI, a type of AI that works in sensory input, and they can actually see the brain react to that. It's an interesting application to the development of AI and working more into figuring out how the brain works and being able to replicate that. That's the interesting part to me.
Yeah, I mean, Spike wanted to talk about how this applies to gaming, which reminded me of a study I had read a long time ago, I think 3 years or something ago. But what it was people always complain about, in first-person shooters, how the AI acts really terribly, right? So
yes.
One group, what they did was they created... it was one room, and what it was there was 4 enemies and you. And then they made the AI act as realistically as possible. They used the same tactics the American Army uses.
Right.
Right? And because it was one room, it was really easy to program this kind of thing. But basically what happened was, the people, they would hide behind the cover, and then the 4 guys would flank them, and they'd flush them out of cover, and they'd get behind them, and they'd always overwhelm them. And it was people were having a really hard time with it, because it turns out combating real humans is really hard. And what they found is just people weren't having fun, because it's if you're fighting, that's why it's just they decided not to use realistic AI when choosing enemies, because it's just people would get overwhelmed so fast, and because the AI would be acting how a soldier would act, but
which most people are not.
But the gamer wasn't trained in military tactics, right? They don't know how to actually gunfight. They've never been in a gunfight in their lives, right? So you have these AI that are acting trained military veterans, and you're just some guy who wants to shoot people, and it turns out it's not fun.
Well, there's that, and there's the fact that here you have a simulation with one room of models. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You've got 6 straight planes and 4 AI subjects in there, and that computational process was probably taking more than enough of the resources.
Oh, absolutely.
By programming this AI to work.
Oh yeah, when it comes to resources, it probably was an incredible amount.
Yeah, and as we look at games now, the worlds keep getting bigger. There's more entities inside of it. So there's more complex physics going on. We're a long ways away from more developed AI being applicable in a gaming level, because there's just it's way too much power. There's way too much computational shit going on.
I just feel like they have to strike a balance between realistic and fun.
Yeah. All right, I understand both perspectives from you, but let's be real when we look at what gaming does on the processor perspective. All right? We have yet to see a game that is actually, optimized for multi-core.
Sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Like
that's one of the
90% of games that come out use one core and then touch at the rest.
That's one of the things.
So an AI like this, like even at this minimal level, would be something that could actually fucking utilize a multi-core.
I know that's one of the biggest problems.
I just don't think even the multi-cores that we have available is going to be enough. They stress their systems doing 200,000 out of the 75 million mouse neurons in the brain. And you're talking about human-level capacities of intelligence.
No. That's not what I'm saying. Let's cut back to kind of what I mean by what I wanted to convey in this type of thing. So we have this model that is able to react to sensory sort of things based on this model and AI that they created, right? I'm not saying we should take that, triple it, make it more human, put it in games, right? I'm not trying to say that. What I'm saying is right now, if we look at what AI in gaming is, it's the programming behind it is very, very simplistic for most games. Every now and then you'll see a game that does a little more on the AI perspective, but for most games it's stuff like this person walks this path at this time frame. This person says this when you approach this person. This person interacts with this object at this time, which is very, very simple stuff. And a lot of the times what ends up happening because of that is you'll play a game. At first you'll be like, wow, this world feels so alive and real. And then maybe 10 hours later, you're like, that guy's still walking the same fucking road. So something like this on a much simpler level, but still complex enough that it would be something that multi-cores could actually utilize this information and games could benefit from it, would be able to create environments that are much more realistic, but still simplistic, instead of what we currently see.
Yeah, I guess I agree with that.
We'll take Skyrim as an example, which is shitballs on AI, but we'll use it as an example. All right? How many of you have played Skyrim and the first time you play it, you're like, wow, this is amazing. This world is so beautiful. It's so big. There's so many people walking around. And then like maybe 20 hours into it, you're like, that person's still on the bench. That person is never left where he is standing. I
absolutely agree that AI needs to become more complex in video games. Like the biggest problem is like for me personally is there's a lack of interaction, reaction. Sorry, to
reaction
in
would
open
be
world games. Like there's such a low reaction to the world around them, and even then, like even if they react to the world, it's always so very basic, right? It's like okay, I mean. They stole something and that's it. They're a bad guy. Now they're an enemy. Like that's how the AI reacts, right? It's not like it's not situational kind of thing. Like I don't know. It's very simplistic. I completely agree. It does need to get better.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just
like
I mean, with the way you boiled that down into its essence, I definitely agree with you. And I think it's just, I don't want to say it as such, but I'll just say that development companies have definitely been lazy in this aspect.
Yeah, AI.
We see.
Oh, absolutely, they have been.
We see some companies who decide to take little steps and measures here. Like, say what you want about Nintendo and Japanese companies. I know you hate them. But the new Legend of Zelda,
I'm just disappointed.
but the new Legend of Zelda does something with Epona, the horse in Zelda, that I've not seen in another game, where it reacts to the fucking world as you're on it, and you don't have to control it because it's a fucking horse. It runs, and it comes across trees, and it veers away from the trees because horses just don't go slamming into trees all the time.
Yeah,
and then when you go to shoot your bow, it just keeps running the way you told it to as you're shooting your bow, and then you continue.
I remember when you told me that, and it just blew my mind how nobody had thought about that before. How everybody treats a horse in a video game like a car. Like you push forward.
Look at when I was playing Red Dead Redemption today.
Pushing forward to stop. Yeah,
but I fucking called my horse and it just trampled over the marshal because it didn't know it was fucking there.
I mean, it's just incredible that was such a big oversight. That it was like, okay, so in real life, when you tell a horse to run, you don't need to keep pushing forward. It just fucking runs because it's a horse, right? Or like, how you said horses will avoid obstacles because they have survival instinct, right? Like
that's kind of something that's been in the Zelda game for a while, though. If I remember back to Twilight Princess, they had similar things, much smaller scale.
Yeah, much smaller scale.
Yeah, there was implementation. Epona definitely reacted to to objects around it. It would react to being overused as well. You know, like
I mean, in this,
it was much smaller scale, but
we're looking more at Epona being a horse and not a physical object that you just happen to have interaction with. Not a car. It's a fucking horse. It lives in the trees and it does things on its own.
So, I mean, I think they're slowly, they're starting to get to that point, but it should have been better by now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like bringing back Skyrim, right? A guy in Skyrim doesn't care. It doesn't see a difference between if you killed a thug on the street or his wife. Like,
who did this?
Yeah, he's just like, the reaction is always the same, right? It's like, oh, hey,
here?
that guy that everybody knows is a fucking thief and a murderer, and it's like, all right, you killed him. That's bad. I'm going to kill you. And then you kill his wife, and it's the exact same reaction. There's no. It just feels extremely scripted, which it pretty much is, right? I mean, there's
it is. It's very scripted, which is what Dr. Moth was saying. Navigation and stuff like that isn't even handled by AI. It's a script. It's a process that runs.
It's a preset of rules that are run based on a condition that is met.
Exactly.
But the only thing I'm trying to say with that is that the problem with it is that it may be interesting at first, but over time, people are going to learn the repetitivity of it.
Yeah, you know,
it's going to be the continued process regardless. And he also said that it's hard to write rules of logic that an AI follow. That you're right, but an example is what they did with this on a much smaller level. You don't need to give it realistic human mentalities or whatever, but just something simple, individual perceptions of things like fear or pain.
Yeah.
Right. Something that it doesn't need to be huge innovation, but say.
We need to
kind of like in Shadow of Mordor when you kill an orc, right? You kill an orc and another orc happens to see it. Maybe he becomes angry. Maybe he becomes scared. Right. There's nothing to say what he's gonna do every time.
Maybe he really hated that guy, right?
Maybe it's whatever. I didn't care about him.
Yeah,
type of thing.
I agree. AI needs better problem solving and rationalizing, or it just needs better problem solving skills, and you need to you look at, there's a guy on YouTube, his channel is Many a True Nerd, but he beat Fallout New Vegas without killing anyone, and then he beat it without healing once because he knows exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
He knows how everybody reacts in that game. Because it's all script, right? There's no chance for the AI to decide to do something itself.
I don't like dice roll though. But I guess here's the thing. I don't like
it should be dice roll. It should be based on something, right? But
the thing is, it still kind of becomes applicable to what I'm saying, that dice roll can play a point in that, where you kill, like in the case of Shadow Border, which I'm pretty sure that's how they handle it, is because every enemy is basically randomly generated. Right. So on the same process of it being randomly generated, so are their attributes and their reactions. So I guess that is an accurate way to do it, but the problem with that is that while that is more dynamic, that also is just one plane. Like that's all enemies react this way type of thing. Whereas, like, what about village folks?
Yeah, exactly.
What about the very simple thing of mourning, right? Not mourning as in the time, but mourning as in, like, say a fire happened in the woods, right? And the people in town will react to that differently based upon that. Maybe one person that the woods in that question, I don't know, there was fucking a chest that had money, they're sad, or just random kind of reactions from people.
Yeah, that was like my Skyrim example, right? Like, yeah, like the guy, he's just automatically hostile. Like, why wouldn't he maybe just kneel beside his now slain wife and just like question why, right? Like, that's something a human would do. Like, it's not always a violent reaction. It's not always, a fearful one. It's like, I mean, it
feels very copy-paste is the biggest thing.
Yeah, and I mean, that's one of those things. Like, that's like a huge reason why people just are terrible people in open world games a lot of the time too, right? Like, it's like, because there's no feeling of this as a person.
For sure. I displayed that perfectly today. I accidentally shot a dude that apparently was good at Red Dead Redemption, and the law started coming after me, and they're like, you can put your hands up and be arrested. And I said, fuck that, and I murdered an entire town worth of marshals. Yeah, I dropped 52 bodies before they took me down. And I was like, ha ha ha.
Like, going back to Fallout New Vegas, like, I realized, like, it's one of those things, like, I'm a paragon of virtue, except when it's convenient. Like, how come nobody reacts to the fact that I stole
convenient or funnier or whatever.
I stole all of the supplies in his store. Like, he's gonna go broke because I cracked his safe and I took everything. I doubt he has insurance. Like how come he doesn't just, like, fucking walk to the end of town and then just put a bullet in his head? Because it's like that's something people would do.
Yeah. That's the only thing I really wanted to raise with this this AI thing that was kind of developed, is that if we're able to do, like, I know this is an extreme, but if we're able to do this, why aren't we able to do this on much smaller scales
exactly
in games?
And we are. It seems they just don't.
Yeah.
That's the long and short of it.
A lot of that's cost.
Oh, I could definitely understand cost effectiveness.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at several.
They would.
Yeah. It'll happen.
Absolutely.
CD Projekt Red will do it.
That's who they are. That's what they do.
Pretty much.
Innovate.
Shotgun these
Gray.
last two here.
Yeah. So in a really cool news. It's not like a brand new revolutionary thing, but basically Blizzard is offering scholarships for the winner of their next tournament. The tournament will be for Heroes of the Storm. The promotion will be run across both the United States and Canada. The scholarship is worth $25,000, and that's not $25,000 for the team. It's $25,000 each.
Yeah,
which is pretty big. Like, that would be a big award in general, but
the teams are 5 people, so
exactly, like, that's $125,000 worth of scholarship money. And there's a quote from the CEO, Mike Morhaime, and the quote is, "College sports do a great thing for student athletes. They help pay for schooling, build teamwork and communication skills, and create lasting memories. We believe esports has that same kind of power, and this tournament aims at bringing a positive experience to these college gamers. Now, I think this is really cool. It's not the first time this has happened, like I said.
True.
And there is at least one university in Korea and one university in Taiwan that are offering student scholarships for professional gaming players.
Well, because it's huge there.
Yeah, I mean, like, so basically, they're getting the rides that college athletes do from these two schools. So to see universities doing that, and now we're seeing companies do scholarship prizes, is just a really cool thing for the esports community, which is obviously good for gaming in general. And
another good thing that I just noticed as a bullet point on that is that the event will actually be televised on ESPN, which is fucking huge.
During prime time on ESPN and the online service Watch ESPN. To where during the primetime slot on the fucking sports network, you will be seeing an esports tournament. That's huge.
Is mind-boggling to me. Because, like, where I do think that cable is on its way out, it still is super prevalent, right? Mm-hmm. So to have, like, the major sports network, like the biggest one, televise a gaming tournament is incredible.
Yep, that's big.
It's been done, but not in a primetime slot, I don't think.
I guess so. Yeah, I mean, it's not like the 2:00 a.m. slot, right? Like, right. It's when everybody is on ESPN.
Yeah, it's during their biggest number times. So,
which I think is crazy because they just had on one of their talk shows, like I was at work on break, and they were like complaining that they didn't think esports was a game, like the pundits on the show, or esports was worth it, or they should be considered like professionals or anything. So I thought it was just really interesting to have like that one show say something like that, and then for the company to say like, no, that's not true. This is profitable.
That's another way. Another reason they're probably looking at it that way is because like esports really blew up for games like the original Counter-Strike and StarCraft.
StarCraft was like the really like there was a very good like small like cash tournament prizes for Counter-Strike and stuff, but it was really like when StarCraft blew up in Korea. And like,
but that's what I mean is that like ever since that moment where there was that blow up, because Counter-Strike had that, and then whether StarCraft was bigger or not is kind of irrelevant because it's been getting bigger and bigger. Like we recently saw, what was it? It was something that Valve was hosting where a Dota tournament had like a metric fuck ton of money behind it. I think it was something like $1.2 million for the prize money.
The international.
That's the internationals recently.
Yeah, that was crazy because like they had what the I don't know, like the not journalists, but the people on the street talking to people during events, and they were like going to like sports bars and stuff, and it was being shown, and they had like event drinks that you could order to support your team, kind of thing. It was insane. It was the international was insane. It was more people watched the international than watched the Super Bowl, which is like
those are nuts numbers.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things in that like the Super Bowl doesn't have a super big international community. It's more like a U.S. and Canada thing, but even still, the fact that the viewership for the international surpassed that is crazy. And may I remind you that most of that $1.2 million for the grand prize was crowdsourced.
Yeah.
That came from like buying team banners and stuff on Dota.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't like how, you know, a lot of things like tennis get it, which is through advertisements and stuff like that. like that was the viewers who basically put that money into it, and that was insane to me. Like, I think it's really crazy because I think it's going to be really good having like that ESPN primetime and stuff though, because that will bring more traditional advertisers to it, right? Like for the most part now you get like
not only that, but because of the scholarships that go along with it, it's going to bring attentions from schools too.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah,
which might change
really,
some school
really
curriculums and add things like esports plausibility, like that's already showing up in some colleges as esport teams being college like done, like people training to do that in college.
That was like,
but that might get bigger.
Yeah, like that was my.
Yeah, as soon as the colleges start seeing the money in it, I mean, scholarships are a good thing for the college because that gets people who probably couldn't have afforded school into their schools, and they're still getting money.
Yeah, and and it's good. It's really good revenue for them too, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, the fact that the college is able to put their name to any sort of like thing that gets a lot of public opinion and stuff, and like they're like, like that's what the NCAA is, right? Like it's just a walking advertisement. Like that's all the NCAA is. It's just a series of advertising and also exploiting your players. That's a topic for a different type of cast.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's really cool to see esports professionals getting this kind of opportunity and really being able to, especially because you have to retire so young usually from esports, right? Like you don't get a lot of time in games like StarCraft. Like StarCraft players are done at like 30.
Yeah,
they do burn out pretty quick, and then they usually end up like casting for the esports tournaments. Yeah,
exactly. So for them to be able to say like, okay, now I can be a professional StarCraft player and get my education, and that means I have a career once I'm out of here. I mean, you'll also just be getting a lot more people trying to do it, which means more talent, right? Yeah. It's one of those things because like a lot of people don't pursue it because they'd rather pursue an education in a career that they can
but a lot more people are starting much earlier to the point where they're at that elite level by the time they're like 17, 18, 19, so they don't even really think about it.
But they don't go to college because it's like they spend all their time doing that.
What fucking kid is gonna be like, I'm making money playing video games? College.
That's what I mean. Like if you got a free ride.
Yeah, I get your point, but like that's why it's like that right now is because most people are.
It will change their attitudes and they will be more likely to go to post-secondary.
Yeah, because I mean, at that point they've already got funding to go do it anyways, so it's like fuck it, why not?
Which is just good. Like the more people with a post-secondary, the better. Like that's just better for the country.
Even though Americans' education is shit.
Well, it's.
I have a post-secondary diploma and I don't work. I have a bachelor's of applied sciences and I make zero money a day.
That's because you guys are just a bunch of lazy bums.
Yeah, pretty much.
Who come up here and mooch off our welfare system.
I'm so lazy that I didn't used to pump out 90 cars a day by myself. That doesn't,
I was making a joke because you know how like ultra-conservative Americans make
Where's your maple syrup and your poutine?
So that's just...
Poutine's not Canadian anymore.
Poutine. No, God no. Neither is maple syrup, really. It comes there, but everybody fucking buys it.
Maple syrup here.
Yeah.
Need your maple syrup.
Keep
your holiday, nerd.
Of the world's maple syrup. You eat our maple syrup.
you eat our craft dinner.
Maple syrup.
Way more than we do.
Yeah. You know what a ridiculous Canadian fact about craft dinner is? Canadians eat 1 in 4 boxes of craft dinner produced.
You guys get better shit, though. That's
true.
That's the stupid thing about it. We get crappy craft dinner.
Korea gets better spam than the rest of the world because they eat so much of it. That
I guess if there's capital in it, then fucking why not?
Smuggled bacon over the border? Heathen.
Bacon.
I don't really care about this next article.
It's kind of not really news.
I just thought it was an interesting perspective from someone who has had to deal with publishers.
Yeah, but the way he comes
kind of-
across is like pompous hipster.
Yeah, you see that a lot with indie devs, though.
I mean,
So-
having worked in some development environments, I don't at all disagree
All
with
right,
this
so
guy.
before we discuss it, we should probably bring up what it is so that people know what the hell we're talking about. So
I
basically,
guess, yeah.
all right. So I'll talk about it really quick. There's a indie developer named Borat Pfeiffer, who is of Plush Apocalypse, who has worked with 17-Bit Studios, which, if you guys don't know who that is, they made Skulls of the Shogun, which is a very well-acclaimed strategy game that's on pretty much everything, like even the Windows Phone.
Yay.
but
That's unsuccessful.
yeah, I mean, basically what happened was he was doing a talk at the GDC that just happened, and he was talking about his experiences with publishers, and while he does have some positive things to say about working with publishers who have their own platforms, he has a big problem with marketing publishers, people who simply market the game for you, because they basically gouge indies for everything, and they don't end up making a lot of money.
You can blame Nate for that. You dude in my ear.
Okay.
Holy shit.
Turd.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so I mean that's essentially it.
Spike! Fuck.
Rex.
All right.
Okay, well that happened. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's not really news. I don't disagree with the guy. I do think he comes across as a bit of a dick.
He definitely is.
He comes
probably
across
a bit
really
of a-
hipster.
But
Yeah.
I mean, he might also just be super angry with past experiences.
I
And
can understand that.
I've
I
not
could-
worked in an experience to where having a publisher down your throat is a good thing. Like he talks about 3 different types of publishers, and this is very much true. You have the platform owner publishers, your Sonys, your Microsofts, your Nintendos, whoever. They're just going to push to make sure that you get the game out when you said you were going to get the game out onto their console so that they can sell units. That's all they care about. They're not going to market you. They're not going to advertise you. They're not going to do anything. They're handing you money to get a product done. You take care of getting it sold. Then there's promotional-only publishers, which quite literally spread everything out. They buy as many properties as they can. They hope one hits, and they make their money off of that. There is
not give a shit about anything else.
right. The only really good publisher is a development funding publisher. This is a publisher that takes active interest in your game. They help you publish it. They help you advertise it, market it. They make sure you have the funds to get done what you need to get done, which he explains as a unicorn. And I don't disagree with that. They are super fucking rare.
yeah,
I mean, he's got a lot of good points. Publishers are terrible as a whole. The business practices are pretty shit.
yeah. I mean, you like, okay, so a really good example of someone is Double Fine Studios. Like, they never made any money on their games up until very recently because it was always through a publisher. And the publisher was taking a lot of their money. Like, Tim Schafer has talked about this. The guy who made, I think it was, it's Supreme Commander. It was one of those, like, RTS games.
Yeah, I know.
He
exactly what
never
you're talking
made
about.
any money on his games, to the point where he went bankrupt trying to do his next game. And, like, he tried to go on Kickstarter and it just didn't work out. Yeah, I mean, essentially, Double Fine now does the whole supporting your development and publishing your game. So Double Fine went from being gouged by publishers to now being the guys who actually help indie devs. And it's really cool to see that. But I mean, it's just one of those things. It's like, yeah, I mean, indie developers have to look out because there's a lot of people willing
Wow, Mark. Wow. Way to go right for the balls.
That's what Mark does.
Of course, Double Fine makes a profit now. They panhandle on Kickstarter and make fans fund them. Wow. I mean, you're not totally wrong.
No.
They definitely have gone to Kickstarter for stuff, but
But when they did go to
at least they tried to develop things.
Yeah, I mean, but you have to remember, like, when he went to Kickstarter, he went for 800,000 and got way more than he expected.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
he really like when he explained it, he just didn't want to lay people off while he was working, right? Like
Basically.
he just doesn't like laying people off. And then he made all this money, which obviously he's not going to fucking complain about because he's running a business and it helps him run his business, right? Like, but I mean, that was the point where he went from relying on publishers to wanting to just fund himself. And that's why he went to Kickstarter, and it afforded him that opportunity. I mean, like, it's not like they're fucking a perfect company because they just canceled that one game that got crowdsourced, right? Like, but
I can't remember what it was.
it was like a space game.
Yeah, they had crowdfunded for it, and then like nearly all the way through the development, they're like, "This is not what we were telling people it would be."
Fantastic.
I remember that now. Yeah.
But yeah, which is more of a warning about Kickstarter than anything. But I mean, that's a topic we've gone over and we'll probably go over at some point later.
Because people don't seem to get what Kickstarter is. A lot of people still look at it as like pre-ordering or buying a product, and it's not.
You're investing money
you're
in an
throwing
idea that
money
does
at a
not
promise.
100%.
Yeah,
mean a
exactly.
return.
It's like
If you put money into Kickstarter, you're responsible for that. That was your decision
Basically-
to invest in an idea that may or may not become an actual thing.
yeah,
You're
that's
liable.
The thing. That's the thing that people like always forget is what you're asking for. You're investing without asking for monetary return.
Basically.
That's what it is. You're like a hedge fund that doesn't ask for any of their money back. Like, I mean, but like people keep saying like, oh, I pre-order. It's like it's not pre-order. They're gonna fail sometimes because of course they are. Because sometimes things fail.
Yeah.
It's like if they tried their best, I mean, then that's all you could have asked for because that's what you signed up for.
And the real good ones are the ones that try, fail, and then still give people at least something.
Something. Absolutely.
Because there's nothing there that says they have to give you anything.
No. They just have to try.
Mm-hmm.
That's Kickstarter's terms of service. As long as you can prove that you tried your hardest, you don't have to return the money.
Potato salad was a huge success. We talked about that already.
Potato salad was fucking bullshit.
Potato salad was amazing. I wish I had
salad-
invested in that so I could go to that dude's house and eat that.
I
fucking
wish I
potato
had
salad.
offered to make potato salad first. Because you
I
know
know a
what?
person-
I would have made potato salad, but I wouldn't have hosted a convention. I would have went off like a fucking robber.
No, you
because
would have made
I
like
only
$100,000 worth of
because
potato salad for yourself.
Because I only offered to make one bowl of potato salad, so the rest of the money is mine, motherfuckers. I will use the
Fucking
very best in potatoes.
a friend of mine, before the potato salad thing finished, this is just a side story because it's funny. A friend of mine saw the potato salad thing, and immediately he was like, "Oh my god, I can quit my job! Help me make a bacon lettuce tomato sandwich."
There was
There's
so
actually a
many
Kickstarter up
copycats.
somewhere about that.
That's amazing. All right. So we're running over here.
To follow a friend from.
Let's hit some of the questions that have been asked. If anybody has a question they would like to ask, go ahead and throw it in the chat. We've got at least 2 that I remember. Right there.
Chaotic Toast asked a while ago, What's up with the Alienware console I've been seeing commercials for? What is it and what do you think about it? The Alienware console is basically the exact same thing as the Steam machine, except it's Windows OS.
Is that what it is? Mm-hmm. See, as far as Alienware is concerned, I don't pay attention anyway, so I didn't know anything about this.
It's literally the exact same thing. It is kind of nice in terms of the engineering behind it. It's a nice design, but it's going to be expensive because it's Alienware. You're going to pay a premium for it. And on top of that premium, it's probably going to be built in a way that you can't touch anything inside of it.
Yeah, here's the thing, like, with Alienware is... Alienware, they are good at designing things. It's the same as MSI, but you pay so much more because it's Alienware. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, they design excellent computers, but you could get a better one for cheaper. It's like, if you owned an Alienware, I wouldn't tell you your computer is bad. You have a good computer. I would just say you wasted your money.
I don't know. I mean, to some extent, I would argue that, but that's because of normally Alienware nowadays, their actual like product quality isn't that great. And it's like, I understand what you're saying, where like your computer specs wise is good, but more often than not, like those parts aren't going to last very long. You can just check their community reviews. Like, most of the people that buy stuff from there, their computer lasts maybe 6 months before they have an issue.
Well, Alienware sells through Dell now, doesn't it? Or
Alienware is owned by Dell.
Yeah.
But I mean, they used to, like, that was what made them big, was their engineering was phenomenal, and that's where they got
way back when.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When they were a solo company doing things like what Razer does, they buy gamers for gamers type of thing.
Yeah, that's
when they were that, like years ago, yeah, they were top of the line.
And Alienware was the pinnacle, right? Like for a little while there, when it was just, gamers in charge of their company of building gaming crates. Like that was the pinnacle of a gaming machine. But I mean, we've also gotten to the point where you don't need companies like that anymore, because it's really easy to get the custom parts and just make a really good one, right? I mean, gaming cases and stuff now are already designed really well.
Yeah.
So it's not the issue it used to be.
K-Mac, totally kind of like Apple. You mean the Alienware console we were talking about? It will be a little more accessible than an Apple product.
Yeah,
but it won't be very easy to work inside, because they probably designed it in such a way that everything is very tightly packed in, kind of like a laptop, where you can kind of access the parts, but really kind of changing anything out won't be something you could do.
Right.
Dirty Sock, you guys should talk about up-and-coming streamers and tip on getting started and making your way to the top.
If we knew we would be there.
Well, no, it's not even that. It's just that there are already a lot of people that kind of talk about that kind of thing that are in a stage of success that is far beyond where we are.
Yeah, that know
like,
a lot
I
more.
have just shy of 1,200 followers, and I regular maybe 20 people a day, but the real thing that I want to tell you, Dirty, is that everyone's success is completely and totally different. So it doesn't really matter what kind of advice people give you. You're probably going to find a way that is completely your own to get there.
Everyone.
It takes time. You kind of just develop your own.
Too, right?
You develop your own personality, and that's what people attach themselves to. And not everybody likes every type of personality. I know, like, when you say success, a lot of the time a lot of people are saying, okay, how do I make it to that professional level? How do you get to partnership? First of all, none of us are there. But secondly, like, when I think I had a successful stream, it's because, like, the people that I like were in chat and everybody was having a good time. Like, that's what I'm like, okay, that was a great stream. I'm really excited to come back tomorrow. That's what I like to do.
Mark, Here's something that a lot of people don't really talk about, because a lot of people kind of look at that as a viewer number thing, which you're right. You'll be successful in terms of viewer number, but unfortunately that's not going to be your community. That's going to be Man's community or Zeke's community hanging out with you.
Yeah, because
for a short time, and probably may not come back because they are a Man community or a Zeke community person.
So I understand what you're trying to say about the secret to Twitch success, but really the secret to Twitch success is just consistency
and enjoy yourself.
That's it.
Yeah.
If you're only focused about enjoying yourself, there's a lot of people that have just quit, that I've talked to and hung out with on their channels, and they don't stream anymore because they just wanted to be partnered to streamers right away.
Right.
But I mean, for some people, it takes a long time. For some people, they get it's just a perfect storm of events for some people, right? I know there's a couple people who, they streamed for a couple months, and then all of a sudden they have 300 viewers in their channel because they just they were playing the right game at the right time, and it just worked out. And it wasn't intentional. It just happened because they were just trying to have fun.
Like I said, everyone's success is completely and totally different. You can't you can give advice as much as you want, but really, I'm not going to be able to tell you how to get there.
No,
Man, one of the biggest channels on Twitch could probably give you a metric fuck ton of advice in the years that he has been doing this, and I guarantee you there is no promise that any of that advice will be what helps get you to a successful point.
It's just not applicable to everyone because everyone is different, and everyone's channel has to be their own channel. Because if he says you got to do that thing where your voice echoes really loud every time you get a subscriber / follower or whatever, that doesn't work for everyone, right? People like that on his channel, but that's because that's him.
Also, Mark, on the statement of those guys make partners overnight, yes, but I reiterate to this. Those people, they are committed to Zeke and Man. Even though maybe 100, 200 of them are going to be in your channel, I'm sorry. They are not there for you. They are someone else's community merely being there because you were suggested by them.
Also, Mark, you wanted me to tell you one of my secrets. So my secret is you probably should stop drinking from your favorite mug.
How many people out there do you think...
the toxicity right now.
How many people do you think Viewbot? I think anyone that Viewbots has never been successful because Twitch knows how to find that shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not hard for them to
sooner or later
find.
They figure it out.
It only takes a little while for them to figure it out. I mean, whether you know it or not, if you have a whole bunch of people in your channel, Twitch staff end up going in there. Just to check out your channel, right? I mean, they have people whose job is just to monitor that stuff. And if you have 600 people and one guy is talking, it's not hard to figure out what's happening.
Yeah. It's actually pretty, I know people that viewbot or have viewbotted to the point, I don't want to endorse that. Basically, the point is the people that are viewbotting too hard, they're not going to be successful because they're going to get fucking caught.
Yeah.
Maybe if you inflate your numbers by 5 or 10, they're not really going to care too much. You're definitely going to get in trouble because you're not supposed to fucking do it. But I mean, the people that are saying viewbotting 100, 200 people on their channel and maybe 2 or 3 people are talking, Twitch is going to look at that and go no. So you're never going to get successful at that point.
The greatest advice I ever got, and it made a lot of sense to me, and it's kind of how I do things, is fuck the numbers. You can be excited about milestones, that's fine. You can be excited about hitting a milestone, and that's perfectly okay. But if you consistently worry about how many viewers are in your chat or how many follows you have on this, that, or the other, people aren't numbers. We're each individuals. We're human beings. We are not numbers, and people don't like being referred to as a number. Because that's what the Nazis did to the Jews, and that's what we do to people in prison, and nobody liked that.
Yeah,
we're not numbers, we're just people. Worry about the
what I
people that
really
come in
liked.
and interact with you, and have fun and interact with them back.
Yeah, that's one thing I really liked when Nate told me this story is it's just like it's very important to remember that the people there are not a number. I mean, especially if they're sitting there talking to you, that's somebody that wants to hang out with you and is enjoying watching you. Like, give that person more respect than to just want 100 more on top of that.
Yeah.
Here's like in tandem with what TheGamePit and Miss Supergrey have
Miss.
said. Miss
Miss
Supergrey.
Miss
That's who you are now.
Supergrey.
Not there yet.
All right, so
Wait to get hitched.
all right, so Gray said have fun. All right. Nate said don't worry about the numbers, right? So those two things in tandem with the very simple rule of be consistent.
Yeah.
That is the way to be successful on Twitch. Have fun. Don't worry about the numbers. Be consistent. And that means that doesn't mean like, do what I do, which is 46 hours of Twitch a week. That means like if you could take 2 days a week and just have a time where you will be live. So if people follow you, if people see your channel, they can see that time and they can be like, okay, I'm free on these days. I can actually be here. That's very, very simple. And it doesn't have to be full time. It doesn't even have to be more than 3 hours, 6 hours a week. Just be consistent, have fun, don't worry about the numbers.
Yeah, that's one of those
Grow
things.
people will come.
There's
They take
actually
a while.
That's one of those things I don't want to name drop because I know people don't like attention all the time necessarily, but there's one person that like we're pretty good friends with on Twitch, and he doesn't stream every single day or all the time. He just streams at a certain time at night on his days off.
Oh yeah.
And he's a very friendly person. He's always friendly to everybody. And he's just a very positive place to be. And because of that, his channel grows really well. And everyone loves being there.
Yeah.
And I mean, like that's I mean, you don't have to have like a super positive, everything is happy attitude. But it's just like his consistency and
Yeah, you don't have to be a character.
yeah, you don't have to be you don't have to mimic people. But it
Like-
just as an example, like he just loves doing it, and because of that his channel grows really well.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see that because like when you look at his chat, I mean, everyone there is really happy to be there and be talking to each other. And I love seeing that when I'm in a channel. Like that makes me stay in a channel.
And even the top guys on Twitch will tell you that consistency is a very big key, and that's where Spike is 100% right. Like, before I even started the whole Twitch thing, before I even stepped foot onto Twitch and made an account and knew what the fuck it was all about, I read an article by the biggest guy there is, and everybody knows his name. Because he is the biggest guy on Twitch as far as I know still.
Everybody knows his name.
Are we talking about man?
No, is he the biggest now? Because when I read
I don't know.
Soda Pop.
when I read the
Yeah.
article, it was Tom Syndicate Pro.
Oh, he's a YouTuber.
He moved to
even-
Twitch though. Didn't he stop YouTube altogether?
No. He does both.
No, he does both.
But he was a YouTube first as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but
yeah,
that was the
he's-
greatest thing I took from that. It's just, he said, fucking, if people know when to find you, they'll find you. If you're all over
Exactly.
the place, then they don't know when to expect you, so they'll just probably never find you.
Well, that's why your favorite TV show doesn't fucking show up whenever the hell they decide to show it, right? Is
Fucking get wrecked, Dante.
Dante.
Out of the emotes.
We're gonna be ending it soon.
Yeah, fair enough.
Just I noticed a question that I didn't address that I can address really quick. Where was it?
Yeah, have a good night, Dante.
You could talk about how to encourage follow chains, aka raids. Here's something I want to explain about raids, all right? A raid, a lot of people what they want is things like follow backs. Like, I follow you, you follow me. You see it a lot on YouTube. A lot of people on YouTube are like, I'll subscribe to your channel if you subscribe to mine, blah blah, right? What a raid is above everything else, all right? Above everything else is to just continue to be on Twitch. Mm-hmm. People like it there's you shouldn't expect anything out of it. Like, when you finish casting, how many of those people that were in your channel are 100% done with Twitch? They only come on to watch you. They're never going to look at any other portion of Twitch ever, right?
Right.
So if they're going to be on Twitch anyway, why not be like, hey, I know this guy. I've watched this channel. I've seen his work. He does good work, or she does good work, or whatever. Let's just go over there. You're going to be here anyway. So, I mean, you could stay, you could leave. There's no requirement for anything. Yeah. You don't even have to follow. It's just like,
it's just the whole like you say every time. It's a show of respect.
Yeah, it's a show of respect. That's all you should ever think of it as.
Yeah.
Like, if people follow you, that's cool. I'm going to be honest with you and say that a lot of the people that have followed me during raids have never been in my channel.
Yeah, so, I mean,
So even though you get followers from it, that doesn't mean that it's really doing anything.
Well, it's one of those things. It's like, I remember I was talking in someone's chat, and it was like, I can't remember what the topic was, but essentially, it was about streaming, and I said my piece, and then the streamer, he was like, oh, you stream? Here's a follow. And then it's like, never showed up. Like, I mean, I didn't expect to follow, but it was like, I don't need someone to follow me if they don't want to watch. Like, you don't have, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I would rather you just don't even bother, because I'd rather just have people watching, hanging out with me. Like, a follow itself is nothing.
Yeah. I mean,
it's
how I primarily approach things is I'll follow people so that I remember to go check them out. Like, this may be kind of douchey, and I know you guys know that I do this. I follow people so that I remember to go check them out, so that I can look at my following, let's see who's online. And I kind of do just pick out the people I haven't been into yet. And I use that follow to go into their streams, and if I don't like it, if I think they're terrible or whatever, then I unfollow. It's kind of shitty because it fluctuates their number by 1, but it's better that I gave them that chance to go and check them out, and then I didn't think it was a place for me, so I left.
Well, you know, the thing is like, say somebody follows me, and I really like having them in my chat or whatever, and we have a good time hanging out, but they only play League of Legends, and I just cannot watch League of Legends. It just bores me to death. Like, so I'm not going to be there, right? I mean, like, there's no point. Like, I still respect them and I still like them, but it's just the channel is not something I can watch.
That's another thing that that I want to add on to this.
Ricky's channel.
So that's another thing I kind of want to add on to this, and that's that whether the only thing that, like, on top of the have fun, don't worry about numbers, be consistent, another little tidbit that I gotta add that's not generally necessary, but it definitely helps with just the overall mood of it, is to oh my god, I just fucking blanked so hard. Thanks, Gray. I'm blaming you for no particular reason. Fucking hell. Wait,
fucking
shit.
Ruined everything.
Fuck! I'm so angry about this. I had a brilliant thing that I wanted to say, and now it's literally gone. Fucking sweet, sweaty dicks in my mouth. There we go. Don't, like... Your environment is not the one that everyone is going to want. No. So if you have a lot of people come in, if you have a lot of followers, you have a lot of this, it doesn't necessarily mean that your environment is what people want. So what you need to do is just worry about your own environment. Don't try to, like, morph into anyone else's kind of idea because they're getting success. right?
Yeah, I mean, you can take things from streams that you particularly enjoy and adapt them to your own style. That's fine.
But it should be because you enjoy it.
Right,
Not because you think it's going to, like, get their followers to follow you.
Yeah,
You know
I
what
mean,
it should be
a lot of
because
people
you
stepping into it are
specifically
completely
like it.
blind anyways and don't know what the fuck they're doing. I
of
definitely
course.
didn't, so I watched people and I learned things. I liked the way that they did things, so that's how I did things. I don't particularly think I have that style in me right now, and I think I'm suffering for it, but...
No, I mean, like, I was definitely inspired by people I respected, and I thought, like, oh, that's something I would like to do, or whatever, right?
Mhm.
And I mean, that's it. Like, just make sure you're doing it for you. Like, you shouldn't be so focused on, like, numbers and stuff, right? Like, it's just, you won't be happy. And if you're not happy streaming, you're not going to succeed. You're not going to want to keep doing it. You'll quit.
Right.
Another thing is variety casting is
rough.
100%
Super the hardest.
more difficult than playing just one game.
Absolutely. When I was streaming fucking, like, when I was just playing Mario, I had, people coming in all the time. But I didn't want to just play Mario all the time.
Yeah.
So I played what I wanted. And I knew I would get drop off, but I was okay with that. Because every time you change a game, you get drop off. Every time. So if you're looking just purely to be successful, then you should probably not be a variety caster.
Even though the biggest channels on fucking Twitch are variety casters.
But it's also the hardest for them to grow, right?
Yes, the reason, as Gray said, the reason why it's so difficult to be a variety caster and be successful is because every time you change games, your community, it's almost like taking your community every time that you change a title and just saying, okay, these guys don't like this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times they'll end up following for the game. Which, if you're a single game caster, that's fine. You can play that game, they'll follow for the game, maybe they'll start to like your personality after a long time with the game as well. Cool. But with a variety caster, you don't always have, like, 6 months to be on that one game for people to like your personality in that time. Often it's maybe, like, 2-3 weeks of that one game, and then you're somewhere else, and they're like...
Yeah. I know there's this one caster I follow who's primarily Minecraft, and when he plays Minecraft, he gets like 480 to like 600 people in his channel. But as soon as he plays something else, he has like 40 people. And it's like, so yeah, I mean, if you're trying to get successful as a variety caster, it's definitely the hardest thing to do.
Yeah, and Chud there has a good point as well, and that's basically the way Spike's set up as well. Is having a set time,
really good system.
having a set time, and playing certain games on certain days. So it's like this game is going to happen on this day at this time. I'm particularly
really happy with my schedule when I changed that, because my ADHD goes fucking haywire when I play the same game more than 4
times. I've thought about adapting a type of style of that. My biggest problem is that I just can't have a consistent daily schedule right now. It just won't work for me.
It's one of those things that I actually kind of wanted to ape talking about in being inspired, because, like, I do have problems playing a game through to the end if I have to play it every single day for, like, 5 hours a day.
It gets ruthless. You get so fucking tired of it. That's why I haven't finished Darksiders 2. That's why it's just too much.
That's why I didn't finish Lords of the Fallen. I still want to play it, but it's like... I was like, I don't want to commit like another week.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, if I just play it once a week and then play other games, it's like, okay, now you have Lords of the Fallen time.
Problem is, I have a super shitty memory too, so doing things Spike's way, it's like every time I went to the game, it'd be completely new to me.
Nate is a
like, I have no idea what's going on. I have the memory of a dead, decaying goldfish.
Yeah.
That might be a selling point. Like, have 5 games a week. That way, every time people show up, they're like, what's Nate gonna think he's doing this time?
Every Let's Play is a blind Let's Play.
Sold.
Right. We gotta start wrapping this up. We're almost coming to 3 hours.
Yeah, I'm totally okay with that. So, the outro is pretty simple. We just kind of shamelessly plug ourselves, and then you guys go on your way, merry ways. Just remember, though, the tip is every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. GMT.
That's
Actually, it's
also not a
midnight
bad idea.
GMT now because fucking time zones.
Yeah.
Fuck time zones.
So you are, and you do, Mr. Spike.
I'm a daily variety caster on Twitch. I'm live every Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. Eastern till I go to sleep, and every weekend from 1 p.m. Eastern till I go to sleep. I play a variety of games throughout the week. Right now, my schedule is Skyrim from Monday. Tuesdays, Hitman Absolution. Wednesdays, Dragon Age Origins. Thursday is Fable: The Lost Chapters, and Saturday is Stalker. Live daily, every single day for about, I would say, an average of 40 hours a week. You can find me at that because I was going to say something. It's right there. It's also all over the screen as well as GamePits and Supergrays.
Yeah.
Miss Supergray.
Miss Supergray.
Supergray.
Gray, you are?
I am Supergrey38, Mr. Gray Gray on Twitter. I'm also a variety caster. I've had a really shit schedule lately because of technical problems, and I've been sick twice. Like, I'm coming down with a fever right now. So, I mean, it's been really bad lately, which really sucks. But I do try and stream almost every day normally. That would be in the mornings, though. Lately, I just finished playing, like, through a lot of Resident Evils.
Yeah.
I think we want to be going back to Lords of the Fallen, just because like I said, I wanted to finish that game. I don't know. I had a lot of fun playing it.
Well then, Mark.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I do, and that's how I'm gonna end my awkward outro.
It's a variety caster on Twitch. Supergray38. Mr. Gray Gray. I don't remember the number.
38.
1.
Oh, it's 38? Yeah,
Mr.
okay.
Gray 1 on Twitter. Supergrey38
Oh,
on Twitch.
it's Gray Gray 1. Gray can't even. He's delusional from his sick.
Like Ultron.
I love you, Gray.
I love you too, Spike.
No.
Hugs and kisses.
Jesus
No.
Christ.
And then you can catch Streptococcus.
Streptococcus.
Strep my
that was-
caucus.
Strep my caucus.
And GamePit.
I am the GamePit, otherwise known as Nate, otherwise known as TGPNate, 5 million other different names. You can just call me shithead most of the time and I will respond. I am a variety caster as well, home of the Tip Podcast. I collaborate with these two gentlemen here. Mr. Gray is one of my longest running friends. Well, is my longest running friend on Twitch. We're going to touch butts in real life at some point soon. Maybe, hopefully.
Oh, yeah.
We do Co-op Tuesday, usually every Tuesday. I don't know about tomorrow because he might be dead.
I'm gonna get scorpions when I visit.
Yeah.
What? Wait, what?
Huh?
Arizona.
I-
They have scorpions.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we
Terrifying.
were talking about putting scorpions in butts. Listen, this goes back to
I mean,
this
if you
goes
want
back
to,
to the
we can do that.
Spike's like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Scorpions and butts, we need to
I'm
talk
the
about this.
president to the Scorpion Butt Club, and nobody invited me to
Basically.
Jesus Christ.
That's yeah. It's,
All right, continuing.
yeah.
Collaborations on Tuesday with Mr. Gray, Co-op Tuesday. We're currently doing Mercenary Kings. Don't know if that's going to happen tomorrow, depending on how he's feeling. Otherwise, I will be casting at some point tomorrow. If it's not Co-op Tuesday, it'll be Red Dead Redemption tomorrow. Because holy fuck, I had a lot of fun with that today. This is also the house of the Tip Podcast that you're watching now every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern, like Spike said. You can also find it on my YouTube channel. Should be usually up the day after. As well, me and Spike do a Wednesday night event called Dead Wednesday, where me and him play Dead Island, Riptide currently, and any other game franchise which has the word dead or dying in it. That's a whole lot of fun, and that's a late night thing for us. Otherwise, if you're ever interested about my schedule, it's always up to date and posted below the cast there. It's rotating. It's kind of weird right now. I'm trying to figure out a way to have a more consistent schedule so that people know what the fuck is going on.
Are you guys playing Riptide on Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yeah, we started Riptide. It's
Yeah, we go watch the highlight where I one-shot the final boss of Dead Island.
You can find that highlight on my channel and Spike's channel. It's amazing.
Mess.
Oh God, yeah.
I'm going to be excited to watch it this Wednesday because it's so terrible.
Left 4 Dead, no.
Dead Island was buggy too. So.
Oh yeah, but not nearly as bad.
Yeah, Chud Killer, I have severe displacement vertigo, so Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2 specifically really fuck with my head, no matter how I change the settings or how far away I am from the screen. That game will make me throw up in about 5 seconds, so unfortunately Left 4 Dead will not probably ever be a thing, unless I can figure out a way to play it without dying.
Yeah.
It was pretty hard getting through some sections of Dead Island, and the very intro of Riptide was terrible. Fuck. That swaying boat.
I'm sorry about that.
I mean, it's not your fault. It's, you know, they shouldn't have static objects moving around on a fucking swaying boat. Because fuck. Yeah, it was bad. I was fine, though. But
How can I get on the tip with you guys? When we start doing guests, I guess we would have to watch you and see if, I don't know. We intend on doing guests at some point.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
we're
just-
still, this is still very early for us. We're still just kind of hitting our stride and figuring things out as we go along. so trying to bring too many people in initially while we're just trying to get our feet stuck in the mud.
Yeah.
As far as guests are concerned, it'll be people we know pretty well we know them well. We know their environment, their personality, things like that.
We feel confident they're not going to try and do something to ruin it for everyone.
Right, they're not just going to come on the podcast and stand up and whip their dick out and get everybody banned. So
Which is not something we're saying you're gonna do. It's just the general idea of making sure we don't put ourselves in trouble. But I gave you a follow, Dirty Socks. I'll check it out when I have the time.
yeah, for sure.
For the most part,
mean-
yeah. Like, people will just have to be well vetted, pretty much. Like, we'll just have to all go in. And then if everyone feels confident, and if we feel like you can bring something to the table, right? I mean, that's a big thing, is that, like, you have, like, if somebody can bring something to the table, they'd be an excellent guest.
Yeah,
Like a new perspective from
Exactly.
instead of R3.
or just get Guru on here and he gets drunk and we're happy with that.
Hey, Hellas!
Even if it's-
Yeah, I gave Guru. That was actually kind of fun.
Adult water, everybody.
Somebody who's an expert on, a topic that we're talking about at some point. Like, I know I have one person in game development I might talk to at some point about coming on.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
It's relevant.
I don't know if the GamePit hates me. I'll see him follow up and unfollow. Well, at least you're expecting
Well, at least
something.
you'll know.
Been forewarned.
Holy shit.
All right, good sirs. Thank
Yep,
you for coming
that's
on.
gonna
I
call
love your
it.
faces.
All right. Yeah, we'll talk to you later, guys.
Take care, everyone. See you next Monday. And any
Have
other
a
time you
good
decide to come out.
night.
Penis, penis, penis.
Penis.
Lozenges. Lozenges. Lozenges.